Well, what do you know? Uh, yeah, really? People crack me up. Okay. Oh, so much to talk about today. Let's have some fun with it. I will put the link to the PDF for this, but I really suggest you give them flyaways and everything. My hair is a mess. All right. Who cares? I would suggest you get. Oh, look, there goes that's the police tearing off. There's a substation nearby. I don't know if you can hear that or not. But anyway, this is the Fruit from a Poisonous Tree is a lovely PDF that you should probably, like I said, buy the book, right? Don't just read the PDF because the guy deserves some money. The other one is, which hasn't come yet, is Chained to the Sky. And I'll put that PDF. Well, I don't know if I can put that PDF down there. But anyway, I have that PDF. But get this book and read it. Read it to your friends out loud. Right? What's covered in this book? Well, let's see. The fact that you're chattel property of United States Corporation, and semi what to do about it. It's actually a pretty easy read. Should I read some excerpts out of this book about the magicians? How about if I just read the table of contents? That'll be fun. And I absolutely recommend you read this and govern yourself accordingly. Anyway, Fruit from a Poisonous Tree, there's the introduction. Then there's Citizenship Expatriation, Chapter 1. The Magicians, the Collection Agency, the Federal Reserve Incorporated. Once you figure out these are all private corporations and what to do about that, you need contracts and you need to understand contracts. So if you're going to deal in contracts, you better understand contract law. So one of the most basic things you can possibly do is get Contract Law for Dummies and read it and understand that much stuff, right? At least understand contracts. Then you need to understand some trust law. Anyway, money. We don't have money. We have currency. All of our money is debt, and understand that they write bonds on us and then they loan the money, right? If you're not a little upset, you're not paying attention. They loan the money to our government at interest on bonds that they write for us. Because in 1933, actually before that, this country has gone bankrupt numerous times because our masters can't seem to not make war, and then they get into debt, and then the bankers want their pound of flesh. We are the pound of flesh. And nobody forced you to register, right? Nobody forced you to register your child on a birth certificate. Nobody. You did it voluntarily because you're ignorant, because that's what you do, right? I mean, we've been told. And see, this is the thing that makes me the most crazy about people when you tell people about this. Do you fucking think that the bankers are going to tell you about the system of enslavement that they put you in and how to get out of it in the public education system? Are you fucking out of your minds? Right? No, they're not going to tell you how to get out of their system, right? And when you figure it out, they're not going to make it easy for you to try to get out. I mean, for fuck's sake, people, right? They got us. And now getting out turns out to be a little bit of an issue. Turns out that, they fucking administer your estate for you. The estate that you didn't know you had. So the idea being is that once you figure out that you have an estate, then what you need to do is, and I'm going to tell you a little story here. Basically, what happens to you when you get born, when you come here. Anyway, above the law, absolutely. The swindle, house for free, how you rob a really big bank, a loyal title. That was interesting to me because ain't no loyal title. Very difficult to get a loyal title here. Mirrors of illusions need to be broken, but mirrors of illusion broken. War powers, another perspective, and then the epilogue. So it's an easy read. It's not like this isn't complicated, big, wordy, flowery stuff. This is fairly straightforward English that lets you know just how badly we're being fucked. This is a great book, and it's. I should have looked that up ahead of time. When was this published? This is like not new information. This book didn't just come out yesterday. This book came out. Wow, what's the copyright on it? 2008. So 12 years ago. A dozen years. Anyway, I will put the link to this book below, and you can peruse it for yourself. Okay. peruse, to study carefully. Let's see here. Oh my God. Oh. Fun story. See, they're not all bad. And some of them know, and they knew when I was sitting there with this right here in my pocket. They whip out their thing, and I whip out this. This is a red pen. What you're going to write with this red pen is no contract. That's what you're going to write. That's it. Those are the 2 words you're going to write. Not where you're supposed to sign. You're going to write no contract. And then, if you want to get nuts, and see, this is just a red stamp. I don't know if you can read it, but that just said, yeah, you can read it. That just says, without prejudice, UCC 1308. The fact that it's on a stamp gives them a clue that I'm not a Johnny-come-lately. I didn't just come to this yesterday, right? I have a stamp. I have a stamp. Now, here's the thing. We are Judeo-Christian law, but it's not Judeo-Christian law. It's Christian law, and UCC is Judeo, right? This is eye for an eye. This is the contract law. You want Christian law for many reasons. Put it that way. All right, Christ Jesus. He will get you out. All right. So let's start off with this ticket, and let's have fun. Okay, so well, first thing I want to tell you, and I'm not going to get the police officer in trouble because his badge number does not appear here. All right, so if you didn't know, I'm sitting underneath a coconut tree watching a Trump rally from a distance, way more than 6 feet away from anybody near me. Enjoying the beautiful women, and it's Hawaii, so I'm not exaggerating when I say good-looking, shapely women that look like women. They're not tatted up. They don't have purple hair. They don't have green hair. They're not screaming. They're not whining and wailing. They're dancing to fun music and Trump raps and all kind of crazy stuff. And this is Maui. Okay, so this is Hawaii. Hawaii, not known for being fairly, pretty much Democrat. Forever, right? Anyway, there is apparently a police sergeant who now has complaints against them, or at least one complaint against them, that doesn't like Trump and had sent his little squad out to harass us and make sure that we get get your mask on. Anyway, I can't tell. Is it actually backwards? I think it's backwards. We'll see when I watch the movie, when I watch it. But because it's been going backwards a couple of times. I've had ones where usually it flips automatically. But anyway, you've seen this mask, I'm sure. I don't wear it, by the way. My son got this so that he could prove the point. But anyway, they wrote me this ticket here for violating Rule 4, I believe it was. And if you read carefully, right there, see right here. All right. First off, fraudulent conveyance of language. Let's just understand that concept. If you understand, oh crud, I didn't bring it again. Wait, let me go run away and I'll come. I'll be right back. Just so you know, Chicago Styles Manual. You need one. Oh, here it is. I got piles. You should see piles of books. Let's see, piles of books. I'm not joking. Okay, so one of the books in this pile. Oh, and once again, support these guys, right? Just support these guys. The guys that write the books, right? That try to get you out, right? Get the PDF so you can have it right this minute, and then order the book to support them. And try to order it directly from them, not from Amazon and other, right? Like I ordered this directly from Wayne Jett, so he gets all the money. Yeah, read that book. It's a bit of a bear, but still. Anyway, this book right here, the book you want. All right, read this book, because grammar fair and lawfare is the primary way, well, word fair, grammar fair, which turns into lawfare, is the primary way, right? This is English right here. And this should be good for if you're homeschooling, if you've got children, this will tell them all about English and grammar. All right, so one of the things that you'll find in that book, should you read it, is the fact that if it's in a box, it's not on the page. Lo and behold, the signature part of this is not in a box. But that's in a box, that's in a box. That part's not in a box. See, it's open. But that's in a box, that's in a box. That means it's removed from the page. That means that the only words on this are defendant. So I sign, and that makes me defendant. I'm not a defendant. Okay, further, what do that say? That says State of Hawaii criminal. That doesn't say state of, so it's no longer state of Hawaii. let's get out of here. Let's play with this, just so you can see how badly they fuck you. All right. State of Hawaii, right there. By the way, usually they're in all caps, and they come at you at all caps. State of Hawaii. See, it should be State of Hawaii if it's all caps. I learned this as a child that you need, if it's going to be all capital letters, you got to put dashes in between to connect the words, because otherwise it's all right, anyway. Okay. But so if they don't have hyphens, I don't need a hyphen, right? Okay. That's a whole other thing, because your Christian name is what you consider your first name and your middle name, generally. But anyway, this says State of Hawaii criminal. Oh, so they hyphenated criminal. So State of Hawaii criminal. All right, that's one word. That's not State of Hawaii criminal. That's State of Hawaii criminal. Right? You can hear the difference, because you're going to a hearing, not a reading. Okay, so it sounds the same. State of Hawaii criminal. What does it say? Citation. No, right there, they've already fucked themselves if you understand some basic grammar, because that's Hawaii criminal. That's not State of Hawaii, right? Is there a State of Hawaii criminal? Okay, and then the next word is citation, and then they put a colon after it. Let's see. Arrest and summons in the district court of the Second Circuit. A private corporation. The district court of the Second Circuit, yeah, they're a private corporation. They're not a public. They're not de jure. They're not a Article 3 court. They're a private corporation masquerading as operating in the public. And you can do that by asking the IRS if the judiciary in your state has a Form 990 and is a tax exempt, not for profit government entity. They're not. They're trying to trick you into thinking they are, though. But no, when I saw that, State of Hawaii, right? Ooh, that sticks those two words together. That's not State of Hawaii criminal, right? That's not State of Hawaii and then criminal citation. No. That's State of Hawaii. Right? Go look at your tickets. Right? I remember this from another man, and I beat the feds up on the mountain here when it came to the park rangers trying to write me a ticket for being on the land, and they spiked that ticket when they figured out, oh, he's coming to court and he's going to hurt us, right? Because what you're going to do is you're going to get the bureaucracy to fight with the bureaucracy, right? Because they're not scared of you, right? You ain't got no guns, you ain't got no clubs, you can't do nothing, right? Peasant, slave, they're not doing nothing, right? So the idea is that what you do is let the SEC know that they're writing bonds, right? Let them know about secret liens, that you know about secret liens and secret contracts. Okay, secret liens, secret contracts, and secret agreements, illegal and unlawful. And then you need to learn the difference between unlawful and illegal, right? These guys do legal business. Anyway, I didn't get to the best part of the story. All right, so surrounded by three men in masks who do not identify themselves, masks and guns. And they got the badge, they got the little patch on their arm that has the logo for the County of Maui, not Maui County, County of Maui Police Department. Another private corporation with a DUNS number. If you don't know what Dun & Bradstreet is, you should look up Dun & Bradstreet to understand what Dun & Bradstreet is. Dun & Bradstreet is a agency that basically lists pretty much all the corporations anywhere. Okay, so if they have a DUNS number, they're a private corporation. Simple as that. Government agencies, de jure government agencies, aren't going to be found on Dun & Bradstreet. But anyway, these are all private corporations that you're dealing with, and you have to have contract. This is an offer to contract. All right, where you sign, and look, so you sign this, and basically now you've become a State of Hawaii criminal defendant, and you got to defend yourself again. You're not a defendant. They can call you defendant, but you're a man or a woman. All right, so it turns out that the court date on this is 11/26. And when he gave it to me, I thought, 11/26? I even asked him, what day is that? And he goes, it's a Tuesday. Okay. His sergeant standing right there telling him, that guy sitting in the chair over there isn't wearing a mask, go harass him. Right? What is he going to do? Is he going to tell his sergeant to fuck off? Or is he going to come over and do what he's told? All right, so 3 of them come over to me and tell me to put a mask on. And I told them, can't do it. 1, you have no authority to tell me to put a mask on. 3, you right? Technically, and they didn't identify themselves. And I will read that to you again if you need to know what that statute is. Well, actually, it's not a statute; it's a federal case, and the federal case takes precedence, and they need to identify themselves before, right? And that's just good manners, right? If I'm going to contract with you, I should identify and let you know who I am. Anyway, I enjoy this. What did he write here? I can barely read it because it's oddly enough, it's like disappearing ink. It's just like fading away. What do you say? Respectfully declined is what it says here. Anyway, because I respectfully declined to put a mask on after these 3 guys with badges and guns were standing around me telling me that I had to. Like, you're going to arrest me? Right? I didn't actually say that. It was cordial the whole time. All right. But the bottom line is, so the guy wrote the ticket out, right? Because he knew, when he saw this and this, he already knew that he was set up, right? That I was just sitting there, right? Because somebody's got to stand up to these people. And I was very much looking forward to it, and it turns out I don't get to go. Right? So it actually turns out to be the better thing. But the idea is that, no, it looked like he was writing me a ticket. It looked like he was doing his job. It looked like he was harassing me for his sergeant. But he wasn't really harassing me, right? I mean, well, he was. Because like I said, we were just talking the story when you get down to it. It was a big cop, right? Okay, now look at this side. Anything in a box? Nothing in a box, right? Nothing. It's all, right? It's all there. Okay, so when you get a document from the government, read it very, very carefully and notice that there's nothing on here, right, that isn't there to either trick you. I mean, they're doing grammar fair and word fair against you. Right? There's not. They didn't just willy-nilly come up with this. I love that term, willy-nilly. They didn't just like, oh, let's just make a thing. Right? No, they were very careful in the way they presented this information. And then they got smart with the barcode. I like it. Okay, so I called the clerk of the court. And well, actually, I didn't call the clerk of the court. I just called the courthouse. And a assistant, what did she call herself? I don't remember. I could tell it was a young girl. She hadn't made clerkship yet. She was just starting out in the thing. She was an assistant secretary or whatever, an office administrator or something like that. She made it clear that she was not a clerk. Anyway, so but she said, no, I can help you though. I'll look this stuff up. So I gave her the number off the citation, and nothing there. She asked me which one of these boxes are checked. I looked carefully. There's no checkbox there. She goes, well, that's odd. She asked me for the date over here. I gave her the date. She goes, well, I guess he hasn't turned the ticket in yet. So you'll get a new notice because he probably just figured out that the date was wrong. No, no, he didn't. He knew he was trying to advance an illegal order, an unlawful order, an unconstitutional order. Yeah, just doing my job doesn't save you in court, right? And here's the thing. You can go into the Second Circuit Court and the judge will be on his side and they'll all be against you. There is no... That's not an impartial observer. Those are people that are all there. The prosecutor is there to extract money from you. The public defender is there to extract money from you. The judge is there to extract money from you. They are there to extract money from you. And in this case, they're there to put you in your place and try to make you realize that, yeah. Anyway, so the idea is that you can go to small claims court where bar attorneys are not allowed. And you can hit the guys for enforcing illegal orders. Harassing you, right? They can't tell you that in order to exercise your First Amendment right, you have to follow this law, right? Or, well, it's not a law. You have to follow this rule, this order, this bullshit from your governor or mayor or whoever, whatever the case may be. No. That's not how it works, right? They may not impair your constitutional rights with other stuff. And see, they've been getting away with it, the Second Amendment, by hook and crook and by making you do all kind of things where you think you have to register and you, okay. Well, here's the thing. If you are a U.S. person, you do, in fact, have to register. But what you need to do is tell these whores that you are not a U.S. person. And what you need to do is expatriate. Now, here's the thing. If you look at this book right here, let's see here. He writes this super duper well-detailed, lovely, long letter that basically tells, I mean, he has Treasury Decision 2023-13 in there, and he talks about how he's a non-resident alien, which it took me a long time to wrap my head around the term non-resident alien. Because, yeah, I'm non-resident. I'm not a resident here. I live on Maui, but that doesn't make me a resident of the county, right? The county of Maui, or the state of Hawaii. Anyhow, he writes a super long, like it's this long. That's right. I'm sure this was multiple pages. All right. Then I ran into this guy named Carl Lentz. And Carl, I like Carl because Carl says shorter the better, fewer words the better, 8 to 10 words, and you're out, right? Because your job, if I was to walk into a court of law, is I'm not overturning the system, right? Little old me. No, your job is to get the hell into that courtroom if you're dumb enough to be, summoned to appear and you don't know how to get out of appearing. But anyway, and it's not getting out of, you're going to appear on paper because they didn't summon you. They summoned your allegiance. They summoned the thing on your license. They summoned the name on your birth certificate. And see, and you think name, you got to change your thinking. Like I said, name doesn't mean you. I am is not that name, right? So if you're, what is it? John Quincy Adams. So John Quincy is your name, right? Adams is your family. Love it. And the idea being is that, you are John Quincy. I am John Quincy. My name is John Quincy Adams, and I am able to represent that. I am agent for John Quincy Adams. And you can look on your, I don't have one around here. You can look on your checks. Use this thing, and you will see that check line says authorized representative because you don't own that account. Right, John Quincy, or in my case, it's the middle initial. So JQ Adams, John Q Adams owns that account, not me. I'm just the authorized representative. I'm just the agent for it. All right, so you might want to figure out that these people are attempting to administer your estate without your consent and without authority. And without, right? Okay, so what you need to do is reclaim your estate. And that's what it talks about in this book, what it talks about in Chained to the Sky. Wow, really? Patrick Devine, there you go. That's a quick brain fart there. But anyway, what Patrick Devine is talking about when he talks about you got to reclaim your estate. Right? You got to let him know. And you revoke your power of attorney. And you, right? Okay, so that's the deal here. All right, so these books will help you figure out. So what you got to do is understand what happens and then what to do about it. Well, I want to use it. All right, so let's start out at birth. And see, I'm doing this as much for me as for you. So I'm going to rewatch this and see how badly I fuck up this explanation. And again, learn this stuff for yourself. Don't come to a guy like me to explain it to you. But here's what happens. First, you're born. Okay, that would be dandy if you were born and then your parents or you weren't dumb enough to fucking fill out the paperwork that you thought was giving notice to the world that you had a child born. No, what you were actually doing is pledging that child into slavery. They're using pledging, and I'll put a video underneath that you can watch. It's very short, and it actually references this book. But they're using pledging to get you to pledge your property, your children, your living estate to the bankers as use for in the bankruptcy, right? Because United States Corporation is bankrupt. So what they do is they write bonds on us. But see, we have to volunteer. You can't say that anybody forced you to fill out the birth certificates. Nobody did. I'm not on, like I said, my name appears on no birth certificate anywhere, right? And I have children. But the idea is I knew not to pledge them into slavery. The women, on the other hand, weren't smart enough because they wanted to make, right? They've been fooled into thinking that these documents were important for them to have so that their child could grow up in this world and be recognized as a U.S. person, which is what you don't want. But anyway, so first you're born. The next thing that happens is a birth certificate is created. You need to learn about the birth certificate. It's not a joke. It's not conspiracy theory. It's not, you need to know about the birth certificate. So I've talked about this before. Let's see, structure of the birth certificate. I will put this PDF below also. But basically, a certificate is a paper establishing an ownership claim. Who owns that? You or them? Did you sign your ownership over to them? Okay, birth and marriage is the other thing. Your marriage certificate, learn about that. Are forms of securities called warehouse receipts. The items included on a warehouse receipt are described at Section 7202 of the Uniform Commercial Code. Right? So you need to know UCC. Even though you don't want to do UCC, you still need to know something about the UCC. So anyway, the location of the warehouse where the goods are stored, that's your residence. The date of issue of the receipt, the date issued. The constructed number of the receipt found on the back or the certificate, usually in red numbers. On the front, mine, it's either on the back or the front. Usually it'll be on the bottom. What would it be? It'll be on the bottom right-hand side of the certificate most of the time. But sometimes it's on the bottom left-hand side of the certificate. I have certificates that have both because I got copies of my birth certificates. Let's see. A descriptive of the goods, that'd be the children. How many pounds, how many ounces, and so forth. And a signature of the warehouse man, which is usually the doctor, right, or a clerk in the hospital. All right. So the U.S. went bankrupt in 1933. So you need to read all about that. All right. And then you need to look around 1921, the Shepherd-Towner Maternity Act. SHEPPARD-TOWNER. Shepherd-Towner Maternity Act created the birth registration, what we now know as the birth certificate. Right? It was also known as the Maternity Act. Go look it up and read it. Because you need to know how these guys are fucking you and where the genesis of this fucking started. And this is where it started. Yeah, this is what turned you into a human resource. This is what turned you into chattel property. This is not a fucking joke, right? And this is not for everybody. Some of you probably might be better off as chattel property when you get right down to it, because you get all kind of benefits, and you love to be told what to do and where to go and where to stand and how far apart to stand and when to wear a mask and when not to wear a mask and all that kind of stuff. And if that's what you need, well, then maybe this isn't for you. But if you want out from under the whore of Babylon, you need to do some reading. You cannot get out from under the whore ignorant. They won't let you. They will do everything to trap you when you try. All right. So you're born. You get that birth certificate. Now, right there on the birth certificate, what does the birth certificate do? Now, the birth certificate, you use that to go get a social security number. All right. So now there's a bunch of numbers. Excuse me. This is ongoing, but I swear to God, it's getting better and better and better week after week. But you know why? Because I smoked cigarettes since I was 10 years old, and I didn't quit until I was like 40. So actually, it's not even true. I didn't quit till I was like, I don't even want to admit it, 46, I think it was. 45, 46 is when I finally quit. So yeah, I had a little bit of crap in my lungs that needs to come out. And it's coming, and it's better. It's better and better and better every time. All right, what was I doing? I was talking about the birth certificate. All right, so then you use that birth certificate to go get a social security number. It tells you on the birth certificate that you're not supposed to use it for ID. It also tells you on the social security number that you're supposed to use it for ID. But anyway, on this birth certificate, that number is your case number for bankruptcy, right? So that's going to be your tracking number. That's going to be the number, right? So you're going to have, usually there's two numbers in that thing. That's going to be the number of birth that you were, were at the time, right? Whatever number birth you are, and it's going to, right? I have a number on the top of my birth certificate that tells me my birth number, what number of, since they started doing the recordings, what number am I, right? Okay, but then on the bottom of that bottom number in red, that's your case number that goes to the bankruptcy court. Right? And that's also the number that they're going to use to write bonds on it. That's your bond serial number. Okay, if you go look it up. And I looked up, yep, sure enough, I got bonds. And they're all matured because I'm old. So are they going to give me my bonds? No, they're considered lost. You lost them. Because they're not in my possession. They're not. All right, anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have them put them in the treasury because there's a lot of bonds. Now, here's the thing. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. So anyway, there's numbers. There's two numbers on this certificate, and then your social security number also has two numbers on it, oddly enough. The old cards, and I have a very old card that only has the SSN on the front, and that's going to be 323, right? Anyway, sorry, 324. What's 3, 3, and 2, and 4? Oh, that's a 9-digit number. You know whose world you're in by how many numbers there are. I also have a selective service number. That number is, I can't remember what it is, but anyway, it works out to be 10 digits, right? Okay, That'll tell you that you're not in that other world. You're in this other world. Anyway, all right. So both of these, and then on the back of this, there's going to be a number, right? And that's going to be your routing number. Okay, so this is your transmitting number, and the back is your routing number. But anyway, your Social Security number has two numbers on it also, front and back, if you look at it. If you look at the front of the card, there's your Social Security number that you use for everything, even though they told you not to. And on the back of it, on the bottom, there's going to be a transmitting number, and it usually starts with a letter, which tells you what bank you're pledged to, and then the rest of the number tells you, or is the, what do you call it, routing number. All right. So then you have selective service number, and you may have a DD214. That tells you that you had some service in the military, and because of that, you get some bounty out of that if you want, but nobody ever claims it. All right, so Social Security number, you use that number. What do you use that number for? Oh, to go get a driver's license, to go get securities license. To go get any of your licenses. So you use this number, even though it tells you not to get your licenses. All right. You may need that when you're on any kind of contracts. Usually a mortgage, you're going to have to put your Social Security number. Any kind of loan, you're going to put a Social Security number. Oh, bank accounts, obviously, you're going to put, right? So you use these two documents to set up bank accounts and your licenses, and now they have you. Right? Now you have signed and signed and signed. Oh, and then what else do you need? What about voter registration, where you reaffirm the fact that you are chattel property, where you reaffirm the fact that you need representation. Okay, so what you're going to do is go and tell them that, one, you're going to rescind that voter registration because you don't need representation. You're going to turn in these licenses that you don't need, and certificates, and your title for your car, and your marriage certificate, and all that kind of stuff. And you need to send them to the appropriate people with an appropriate cover letter. But first, you send the copy, and then if they want to come and inspect the documents, they can. And your bank accounts. You kind of need that to be in commerce, but that tells them that you're in commerce, and that tells them that you're in the fictional world of the dead. But who owns that bank account? Is it John Quincy? Or is it John Quincy Adams in all caps? Yeah, it's the Enlegius that owns this bank account, and you are the authorized representative. The name on this was my, my Enlegius, but it was backwards. The creditor, because on my license, it would be Adams John Quincy. Okay, so Adams, John Quincy. All right, so yeah, that's still not me. I'm authorized to represent that person. But that's not me. I am John Quincy, right? You wrote that ticket to John Quincy Adams in all caps. And you might be JQ Adams, right? They might call you JQ, right? But the idea is don't confuse who you are with your name. That's their job, is to confuse you, that you don't know your name. Okay, what else? Okay, so then what you got to do is you got to let the IRS know that you're not decedent. You got to let the Secretary of State and the Attorney General know that they're fired, and that you're revoking your power of attorney, and that you need to have because, okay, when you're 25, or at least between 18 and 25, you were supposed to come out and start doing some paperwork. You didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't know. Do you really think the banker is going to tell you what to do, right? How to get out from underneath their system of slavery? I don't think they are. I don't think they're going to educate you into knowing. Like, did you know about the 1933 bankruptcy? Did you know about the 1871 corporation that was set up, that United States Corporation, right? Did they tell you about that? Did they tell you about any of these things? No. They didn't tell you. They don't want you to know. Okay, so did they tell? What's the? Anyway, it talks about it in this book and so forth. You should probably read some of the things that Congress did back then, and the House Joint Resolution 192 and so forth. You should read these things, not just hear about them. And then, you need to get. This is a legal dictionary. I know I'm not going to run away again. There's another pile of books that I just showed you. That's basically dictionaries. But read dictionaries. Because you need to know what the words mean if you're going to get out from underneath this. You cannot not know what the words mean. So you need to know it. But the idea is that what you are is not what you think you are. What they say you are and what you are two different things. And when you stand on the fact that you are a man or a woman, and you know it, and you keep the words brief, this is the other thing. See, and I am absolutely, positively guilty of putting too many words on a piece of paper. You want to put fewest words possible to get the point across, right? Economy of symbol, economy of motion, economy of language, right? Fewest words possible to get your point across. I'm a man. I'm non-decedent. I'm non-assumptive. Just simple statements and declarations. Now you're in common law. All right. Turns out every court is common law. And you need to talk to this guy, or maybe you don't need to talk to him, but you need to listen to his hours, considering he's a man of very few words. He has hours and hours and hours on YouTube, on this channel, on this right here. And I hope they pick him up and move him over to BitChute, because it won't be long before that gets, as you well know, deleted, because this thing is deleting anybody and everybody. However, oh, and I'll put a thing below also. The guys over at SGT and a bunch of other people got together and did an injunction in court in California in the Ninth Circuit, and money is always what it costs to get stuff, done in the courts if you do it that way. So they need some cash, and if you like to try to see if we can preserve some of our free speech rights and slap Google and Facebook and Twitter and all these guys back down to where they have to obey the simple concept of free speech. I never thought I'd see the day. I honestly never thought I'd see the day when free speech wasn't a thing in the United States. But now, without any apology and absolutely knowing that they're violating the First Amendment, they just, if you disagree with them, if you want to talk about the fact that the Bidens have not one, not two, but 3 laptops out there, there's torture porn, there's, right? And they just won't report it. And 2, if they do report it, or if you, like me, put it up, I got banned, right? 30-day ban. The idea being is that if you put anything up that is, this was Facebook, anything that is contrary to the narrative, they just ban you, right? If you talk about face masks, if you talk about the Rona, even this, on YouTube, a lot of people, you couldn't even mention the words, right? This is, okay. So no, you might want to give these guys, I gave them $10, right? Now, my thinking is that if everybody gave them $10, they'd have more than enough money. Because like I think a couple of these guys, like Amazing Polly, she had 1 million subscribers. If everybody in, well, that's not everybody. How about if half of everybody gave $10? How much money would they have? Can you do the math? Right, 500,000 times 10. Anyway, so they'd have more than enough money, but you can't get together, and you can't, right? You can't, right? They keep us divided, and anyway, when some people try to do stuff, they don't get supported. Anyway, I'll put that down there, and we'll see what happens on Monday. Actually, with that tomorrow, Tuesday is going to be interesting, and the rest of this week is going to be interesting. They are planning for a civil war. They are planning for civil unrest. They are planning for the Democrats to lose their minds. But if you can just look around a little bit, I think you can see this is a phenomenon. This is an absolute phenomenon. Never seen anything like this in our lives, in my life, paying attention to politics. Never heard a crowd of 59,000 people chant, "I love you," to a president, right? We love you, we love you. Okay. Let's just say I'm not quite that far into that game, right? Because like I said, U.S. person, I can't vote. I can't even vote for him. I can't vote for the other guy. I wouldn't vote for either one of them personally. But I can pick the lesser, spot the lesser of 2 evils this time. And actually not just the lesser of 2 evils. Let's see here, 4 peace deals. And you tell the Democrats this and like, oh, he did something presidential. Meantime, fucking Obama is bombing 7 different nations. Trump has started to make peace deals, and there's going to be more, right? The Democrats have lost their mind by every standard, in every conceivable way. They have their Trump derangement syndrome has absolutely made them lose their minds, where they can't see the threat to free speech, where they can't see that cheating just to get your guy in doesn't make you the virtuous side, doesn't, right? The fact that the stuff that's on that one laptop is amazing and verified now. And if I was you, and I talked to when I went to the last Trump rally on Friday, again, just to observe and watch the cops harass them and so forth. And oh man, a whole bunch of Biden supporters were across the street and some Antifa guys, and they were losing their minds, right? The Trump guys are dancing and having fun. And like I said, that one girl that showed up a couple of weeks ago and she was wearing a nice, slinky gold dress and was dancing around to the music and waving her Trump flag. This time she shows up in like this see-through t-shirt thing with a American flag bikini underneath and heels, and she's dancing around some more. She hot and she know it. And it had a bunch of other girls dancing with her too, right? And again, like I said, look like women, right? These are not men that are dressed like women. These are not purple-haired, tatted up Democrats. These are Republican women that, yeah. Anyway, so across the street, though, these people are losing their minds. They're screaming, "Fuck you!" and they're just like, I mean, literally caterwauling. And then a bunch of Trump supporters went across the street, stood next to him. Now, see here once again. These guys are men in blue. Oh, actually, they weren't. Well, actually, I think there were a couple of guys in dress uniforms this time. But we see our police, in a way, they have dress blues, the uniform that you would normally associate with police officers, either black or blue or whatever that uniform. But in Hawaii, because it's Hawaii, they also have a uniform that is an official uniform that is slacks and an aloha shirt, just like what I'm doing now. And it's a kind of a baggy aloha shirt that covers their belt and so forth, so they don't look as threatening, and so they can be in a crowd and not be so, I don't know what the word is, but anyway, I know what they're trying to do. Okay, so there were a couple of those guys, well, 3 of those guys, and then there was a guy in dress blues, and they were smart enough to get in between the, right? And is that the position that you want to be in, where you got one crowd screaming and the other crowd literally laughing at them? But they made sure that you guys stay apart and don't get physical with each other and don't any of that stuff, right? Okay, that's what they're there for. Keep the peace, right? They're supposed to be peace officers, not law enforcement, and they're not enforcing law. They're enforcing statute. But anyway, that's a whole other issue. But the idea being is that, yeah, they were doing their jobs, and I wouldn't want that job. I wouldn't want to have to stand over there with the freaking idiot Antifa guys, and they know for a fact that if things got ugly, it's the Antifa guys that are shooting them when they're eating a sandwich in their freaking squad car. It's not the Trump supporters, right? I mean, anyway. All right, so is there more stuff to talk about? Yeah, there's a lot more stuff to talk about. But the fact that this, okay, what I was going to say, and I interrupted myself before, just look on those computers or on that laptop or on those files just enough to let yourself know that, yeah, right? Stand fast at the doors of your mind and guard against whatsoever you let therein, because I'll tell you what, some of the stuff that's on that laptop, if you watch those videos or if you look at too many of those pictures, you won't sleep at night and you will have anxiety and issues. Ask me how I know. So just enough to let you know the shit that's on there and the shit that these people do, right? These people are evil beyond your ability to measure. I've said that numerous times. Like most of you, I hope, can't even conceive of the evil that these people are, because they are evil. There's no other word for it, right? They're not just greedy. They're not just corrupt. They're evil in every sense of the word, right? See, I don't want to talk about it. Screaming children, screaming children, because they're being raped. All right. And the Democrats pretend like none of this exists. The Democrats want to pretend they're reality optional. They want to pretend that they're guys good, right? Even if it wasn't the big guy. What kind of person raises that kind of child, right? And many people have figured out that, yeah, Hunter was probably abused. Obama was definitely abused. Passed around like candy among wealthy men when they were small. Because they absolutely, when that happens, the psyche is damaged and they are absolutely now under their mind fucked. Their body gets fucked and their mind gets fucked. And now they are completely and totally controllable. Further, as people start beginning to look at this sick, twisted world that they've created, they have the ability, apparently, to split the personality. So the one personality may not be aware of the other personality and may not be aware of the things that this personality was subjected to. But there is going to be some issues there. And then they can skip, this is the person that shows in the public, and this is the person that is in the private. And this is the person that nobody knows about, the person that's been raped, the person that's been mind controlled and given drugs and so forth. And they figured out that they can get this person to show up occasionally and go into the public and do things. And then murder, assassination, etc. And they, honest to God, aren't even aware of what they've done. Well, this person isn't aware. This person is aware. So right, they have managed, and there is huge amount of documented evidence that this is the case, that they are able to do this. With all these Nazis that came over in Operation Paperclip, they had been working on this and apparently perfected it over time using drugs and trauma and pain and God. Anyway, it's not right. MK Ultra and many other programs like MK Ultra. There are many, that's the one that everybody talks about, but there are many other programs that were semi-secret or top secret where they did horrifying things and came out. They had success. Let's put it that way. They were able to. The goal was to split the human in two, and they succeeded. It's not conspiracy theory. It's not nothing. Like, these rabbit holes go fucking deep and ugly every time. Okay. So what you need to do if you want to be able to fight up against, stand up against this, you might want to change your status from where you are now, which is chattel slave, to a elector, to an L, to what the Moors call, sovereignty does not lie in the person. Sovereignty lies in the people. So a sovereign people, a sovereign state citizen, that doesn't make me a king. That doesn't give me the ability to tell you what to do. That gives me the ability to govern my state, my own estate, and my own affairs. Right? That's all it does. All right. So I have inalienable rights. Those inalienable rights are protected by your documents, the Constitution that you guys swore to uphold, not me. Right? The guy that. Oh, what did I do with it? I just threw it away. I just had it here. Oh, here it is. The guy that wrote this ticket. Okay, he has a badge and a license, and he didn't even know he had a license, and he didn't know he was bonded. But the idea is that they have an oath of office, and you can look in your state, the oath of office for your state, to uphold the Constitution. Now, the Constitution, the state, right, of Hawaii. No, we have a Hawaii state constitution. We don't have a state of Hawaii constitution. Clue. Anyway, like I said, the words, all the words, the little words, like the 2-letter words, those mean the most. Oh, here's a fun little thing I found. Learn the difference between in-law and at-law, right? When you go into a courtroom, you're at-law, right? If you know how to declare a court when you walk in there, and I'm learning this, you got to state a claim, you got to be a man, right? You got to man up. You go into that court of law and you are at their court, but they are in your court. Anyway, look into that. Just the small little letters. Anyway, state of Hawaii, that is a state of jurisdiction, right? Or so that of is your clue. So anyway, all these guys in the of jurisdiction, the state of Hawaii, the county of Maui, they all have oaths to a constitution that protect your inalienable rights. You're not party to that constitution. That you are supposed to be protected by these people. Your right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Your right to bear arms. Your right to protect yourself and your property. Your right to be secure in your person's papers. All that stuff. That's those first 10 amendments, but everything in the Constitution as well. See, because our founding fathers thought, we only have to give them 2 things, right? We only have to tell them because they'll know this, right? No, you won't. But the idea being is that no bills of attainder, and is basically the only thing that talks about there. And do you know what a bill of attainder is? Go look it up in one of those law dictionaries. It's a pretty simple concept, actually. And oh shoot, I can't remember the legal term for it, but the idea is that they can't write laws that are retroactive, right? If it was legal yesterday, they can make a law from this day forward, but they can't make a law that makes what you've been doing in the past illegal. And I can't remember the name for it. See, got to learn this stuff. But the idea being is that you have basic human rights. They are covered. See, if you don't know the treaties, you don't know the treaties. But the International Council on Civil and Political Rights, you should probably take a look at that and see you are a party to those, right? Because if you're a man or a woman, you have some quote unquote natural rights, inalienable rights, inalienable rights, however you want to put it, that these guys are supposed to protect, right? But they don't. In fact, if anything, they infringe. And the idea being is that I appreciate it, and anyway, appreciate it. But the idea being is that you need to govern yourself accordingly and stand up on your own 2 feet. And the only way you can do that is with knowledge. And the only way to gain knowledge, as my grandma and many other people said before, you want to hide knowledge from a nigger, put it in a fucking book and put the book in a library. That's it. All right. So now we have Amazon and the internet. I see a book. And pretty much whatever it is, you can order it. Whatever it is, you can order it. Look. Whatever it is, and if you order this with your credit card on Amazon, you're going to get on a list. Just want you to know. But maybe you want to know what's in this book. Maybe you want to know what's in this book. Right? And maybe you want to find out that some of these things are, some of these books, right? Secrets of Success. Published in the year 2013. Is this a real Illuminati book? Well, technically yes, but technically no, right? But if you look into this, like I said, it's just basic stuff. There's nothing about drawing pentagrams and right and sacrificing babies in this book. But there is stuff like, what am I looking at? Law 61. Accept the qualities of a person, even the bad ones, when they show you who they are. Okay, notice the word person. Let's see here. Law 60. Beware of the watchers and keep a close eye on your enemies. Okay, I mean, 66 laws. This book. Oh, anyway, this is a little bit deeper reading, but it's also, you're not going to see anything in here about the dark rituals, right? You are going to see stuff in here that pretty much explains their basic philosophies, if you want to say, the basic tenets that fall behind it, right? And look, here, a list of affirmations to improve energy, peace, and confidence, right? And see, it turns out The Secret, do you remember The Secret? Are you guys old enough to remember The Secret when that DVD was everywhere and everyone was talking about The Secret? And then here's Louise Hay talking about affirmations and so forth. Turns out affirmations work. And so in this little blue book, she figured out that this thing is responsible for the other thing, right? Mind is responsible for body. Right? So your body manifests what's in your mind. And you will see it. And I'm showing my son that absolutely a lot of things that are in his mind will manifest in his body. And then there's affirmation to go around it. But anyway, the idea is that these guys knew the secrets. They knew that what you're against, and see, this is what the Democrats seem to have forgotten, that what you're against, you strengthen. So when you're out there going, fuck Trump and fuck Trump supporters and blah, 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 right? You're strengthening Trump. Right? And they tricked you because, well, maybe they didn't trick you, but you know what I mean? A lot of them figured out that we can get these Democrats to actually strengthen us by making it, right? And what are they doing? They're tricking you into registering to vote and reaffirming the fact that you need representation and that you're not a man and a woman, you are a U.S. person, and that's a different thing. There are different kinds of persons. There's two kinds of persons, and if you look in law, this is stare decisis everywhere, that there's the natural person, and then there's the corporate person. Right? And corporate person doesn't necessarily mean that you're a corporation, right? Because a lot of people say, oh, they turned you into a corporation with that birth certificate. Okay, yeah, but no, because do you have a board of directors and do you have, no. You are a corporate person, meaning that corporate person means that you are part of or subject to a corporation. What corporation is that? United States Corporation, of course. State of Hawaii Corporation. State of California Corporation. State of Oregon corporation, state of Illinois corporation, right? You're a corporate person in there. You're what makes that corporation work. You are the chattel property. You are the full faith and credit. You are the support for that thing, that entity, that right, that you thought was a de jure state government. No, it's a freaking corporation. It's a private company for profit that makes gains using a prison system, using licensing, using all the things that they do, right? Using statutes mostly, right? They write statute after statute, and then you break a statute. You were conveying yourself on the, right? See, and this is the thing, many words confuse, right? Using different words to say the same thing. So here, I'll use different words to say the same thing. You were conveying yourself in the conveyance of the day upon a foreign trade route, but at the time of your conveyance, you were not wearing a seatbelt. Therefore, they think they can extract money from you. Or perhaps you were talking on your cell phone, right? So what they're saying is that, no, you were operating a motor vehicle on the highway without a seatbelt, which is in violation of statute so-and-so, depending on what state you're in. I was driving my car and I wasn't wearing my seatbelt and I got a ticket. I said the same thing 3 different times, right? Many words to say the same thing, right? They don't call you a man, they call you a person, right? Your property, your living estate, yeah. What's that? Oh, those are children, right? Ooh, worse than that, kids. And you'll see them refer to kids once in a while, and I get really pissy when I see that. But when children, oh, now certain statutes apply. But if you keep it simple, Carl Lentz, once again, right, kicking me in the ass and making me understand some very simple stuff, right? Keep the fucking documents to a minimum, right? The words on your documents to a minimum, right? So there can be no controversy. So there can be no contesting. So there is no need for adjudication. You keep the words short and simple, and now you don't need a long glossary of terms. Right? And like I said, guilty, 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 guilty. When I started watching his stuff, absolutely guilty, right? Too many words on the page. You keep it brief, right? And now you really need to know what you say, right? And what to say. And you become a man or a woman of few words. You don't try to baffle fucking judges with bullshit. That's their job. That's what they do. That's their grammar fair and law fair. Look how thick this book is, right? But if you wade through the Chicago Manual of Style, you begin to see, you start to see all the little tricks that they put on their pieces of paper. I have another piece of paper from the federal government that was a ticket. And I'm just interested every single thing on the page and what's not on the page, because that book tells you that if it's in a box, it's not on the page. Notice how your signature is not in a box. Notice how these little words around your signature is not in a box. Right? Notice how the word defendant down here in red is not in a box, right? So you sign this, you are a defendant. And this up here that's not in a box, again, says State of Hawaii criminal, right? That right there is one word, is one thing. Because of that hyphen, you need to learn, right? Those little things, the punctuation, right down to the grammar, right? Right down to the fucking punctuation is how they get us. Because we don't understand the punctuation. Right? We don't understand that because, and here's the other thing, is that you want, and so did I, to think that these people are equitable and that you're somehow going to get justice in a court of law. You're not. Not in their not in their courts. But if you understand some grammar fair and law fair, you can defend yourself. And again, if you keep your sentences super short and you punctuate them correctly, they can't do anything about you. Right? Except get you the fuck out of their courts, which is what you want. Like I said, you can't, maybe as a group at some time, but it's not looking very good looking around at all the people wearing masks, and all the people that have Trump derangement syndrome. And I'm not talking about Democrats. I'm talking about Republicans that think that, Trump's going to come and save us. He's going to be better. And I have to say, one of the better presidents in my lifetime. In fact, probably the best president in our lifetime when it comes to getting us out of the TPP, getting us out of these fucking ridiculous trade agreements that just fucked us over. Even our Canadian friends were fucking us. Friends. 4 peace deals now with Israel, trying to make peace, trying to pull our guys out of the Middle East. And ooh, are there a lot of troops that came home from Iraq and Syria? Yeah, there seem to be a lot of troops that came home. Are those rank and file troops absolutely loyal to the president? or will they be loyal to usurpers that try? I think we're going to see what happens there. Well, actually, we'll see. I cannot wait for next week. I really can't wait. Tuesday, right? I'm not part of that. Like I said, as I'm not a U.S. person, I have revoked my citizenship. I am trying to let people know that, hi, I'm alive. I'm non-decedent. Turns out, and what's the first thing you do when somebody else has been administering your estate since you were 25, right? Because you were supposed to claim it back when you were 25 and you didn't. But what's the first thing you do? Get an accounting. Are you going to do the accounting? No, they're going to do the accounting based on the numbers that you give them, right? Once you give them the Social Security number, that's pretty much all they need. Everything's freaking hooked to that number, right? That slave surveillance number. So then maybe you need to go over to bankruptcy court. That is Angela. It's awesome. It's the Dread Pirate Bruce, or it's the Dread. Anyway, it's the Dread Pirate from Neverending Story or whatever the fuck it was. As You Wish. I can't remember the name of it. Was it? It's a great story because that story is actually also noticed. But anyway, the idea being is that the Dread Pirate Roberts, not Bruce. I'm thinking of the Bruce. But anyway, the Dread Pirate Roberts is a position that can be held by numerous people, right? And you become the Dread Pirate Roberts if you are a Dread Pirate. Okay, Angela D, right? I have, I have Oreo D Cat is the name of that cat, right? Oreo D Cat. Anyway, this is Angela D. Caesar, right? Render unto Caesar is the clerk of the bankruptcy court at 333 Constitution Avenue Northwest, Washington, D.C., 20001. Got the thing memorized because it's just so ridiculous. But the idea is that is where you're going to render your estate, right? And you need to render unto them and you need to tell them, look, I didn't know, right? I didn't know I was supposed to come out at 25. And you can't come out before 25, right? You cannot become an elector. You can't call yourself an L. You can't call yourself a Bay before 25, right? And it doesn't matter. I know what some of the Moors have to say, and I know what a lot of other people have to say, but sorry, you are on the North American continent, and the de jure government of the United States of America is what rules the day. The legal business is administered by the United States. Let's see, did it again. No, the United States Corporation, right? State of Hawaii. No, it's just, what is it? Yeah, it's just State of Hawaii. No, the State of Hawaii. No hyphens, right? So what you have is two different things, and that's usually abbreviated U.S., and it is not USA. I've said this. How many videos have I made? No, right? This is Sunday School 7, over and over again until you get it. All right, so technically, they need those hyphens. Not technically, but grammatically, according to this book right here. Need hyphens. So when they tell me that I can't come in and I need a hyphen, well, then you need a hyphen, right? So then, yeah. Oops. Oh, wow. Right? That's your Christian name. That's your family name. This is the man. The whole thing is the corporate person. It's not a corporation, right? Do you have meetings? Do you have board of directors yet? No. It's a this whole thing in all caps is an in legis, right? They don't recognize straw man, right? The sovereign guys that all talk about, they don't recognize. They recognize the Latin, the dead language, but don't speak their dead language, right? This is a name. Figure out what a name is. Right? The name in all caps, and again, as Patrick Devine and many others have figured out, doesn't matter if it's all caps or lowercase, doesn't matter if it's title case, doesn't matter. It's a hearing, not a reading. So when you say it, it's going to sound the same. But the idea is there is a big difference between the all caps name, that's the name, right? That's the corporation, that's the registered trademark, that's the estate, that's the thing that they created upon your birth on that birth certificate that they're administering and raping the fuck out of without your knowledge or consent, without your disclosure. They're writing bonds, they're doing all kind of fun stuff, right? You are the thing that makes this thing happen, right? On my checks, it says, that's not my name. Eventually my name will come out, but anyway. That's what it says. Actually, it says it in all caps. It says John Q. Adams on my checks. And on that check line underneath, it said, oh, which side is it on? The right or the left, right? You need to know that, right? That's kind of important, right, left, or middle. Anyway, when you sign your checks, you'll notice that it's on the right. And that check line says authorized representative because I don't own that bank account. John Q. Adams does. It's registered to John Q. Adams, not to John Quincy, not to the man, to the inlegius, to the corporate fiction, to the thing that they made. You're a corporate person. That doesn't make you a corporation. That makes you part of another corporation, which in this case, if you decide to be a resident of the county of Maui, not Maui County, but the county of Maui, or the state of Hawaii, or the state of California, or the state of Illinois, or the state of New York, right? Not New York State, not California State. Is there a California State University? Why, yes. Is there a state of California University? Why, yes. Now you know the difference. All right, so John Quincy Adams, the all caps name, you represent that. You are not that, you represent it. And when you sign that voter registration, for sure, you are representing that. And you are telling them that that corporate person needs representation by others in your county council, in OHA, in Hawaii, for example, right? These Hawaiians, they're not going to represent themselves. They got to elect somebody to represent them, right? And they don't elect, they vote for, right? There's a difference, right? The difference between a voter and an elector, right? They get you to register to vote and become a voter, right? Your suffrage is definitely, you have the right of suffrage, right? That is an inalienable right. You have one vote, right? And that one vote is over you, right? Over your estate, over your, and see, you wear many hats. You can be a judge. You can be a lot of different things. You can be a parent, right? That's called capacity. You have infinite capacity, right? And in your infinite capacity, you have the infinite ability to contract or not contract. However, if in that capacity, you decide to give up all of that and register yourself to vote and become a U.S. person, then fuck you. You don't get any of that. Now you are subject to them. Now you are subject to their laws. Now you are subject to their myriad and millions, literally, of statutes. Right? Because they have courtesy, right? There's honor among thieves, right? Professional courtesy. So if you get married in Florida and you have a marriage certificate, that marriage certificate is recognized in the state of Hawaii. Right? They don't do that with guns. You're allowed to have guns in Florida, and guns in Florida, right? What is it? Gun ownership in Florida is just a little bit easier than furniture rental, as it should be. Same thing in used to be in Idaho. Same thing in Montana. I remember in the 90s being able to walk into a gun store in Montana and for a couple of $100 get a Klinish, right, an AK. Because I can't say Klinishknov, Klishknov, right? Klashknov. Anyway, an AK-47. Right? And the reason why I didn't buy the AK-47 is because I was thinking, you know, the rounds are hard to get. Shotguns, no problem. Sign here. Right? Used to be able to walk out of the store the same day. I have a friend, we were talking about it, Walmart here on Maui. Oh, actually, not Walmart, Woolworth, right? Right? As soon as he turned 18, walking out of the store with a freaking 22 over his shoulder and a box of ammo that he just bought. Right? No, they can't have that right now. In fact, as we speak, Walmart pulling guns and ammo off the shelves because they're concerned that what happened. Like I said, I'm so interested to see what happens next week. Right? Oh, they would love it if they could get us to shoot at each other. Oh, they would love that. Right? They could get Democrats who are Americans, well, who ought to be Americans, and Republicans who ought to be Americans shooting at each other. Ew, they would love that. Anyway, because you don't know your name. Because you don't understand that Republicans and Democrats, same fucking team, same goddamn team. right? This is one corporation, United States corporation, right? They consider themselves your masters and owners. This is not fucking hyperbole, right? This is absolutely the case. You are their chattel property until you tell them different. And even when you tell them different, if you don't do it the right way and jump through the hoops the way they want you to, you're going to be fucked, right? But stand on your square and you will make it through, right? The way you make it through is by arming yourself with knowledge. And now here's the thing, the 100 monkey effect, that this is no longer theory. Like the 100 monkey story, if you know the 100 monkey story about the monkeys on different islands washing their fruit and so forth, and the apples would fall down into the sand and then they'd eat the sandy apples. They're eating anything that's got sand in it. Anyway, so they're monkeys, they don't like it either. So one of the monkeys figured out to wash the thing in the ocean, in the water, before you eat it, and then you don't have to eat the sand. And they taught our kids, and then so on and so forth. And then suddenly all the monkeys on all the islands, even the ones that are that's the story, that's the myth. All right, whether that's true or not doesn't matter. We have found numerous tests, and behavioral science and so forth. First, you put some rats in a tank. I'm coming back to it'll make sense in a bit. All right, so you put some rats in a water tank. This place to get out has a light, and this place doesn't have a light. Well, obviously, the rats will swim toward the one that has the light. Well, if they climb up over here, they get a shock. If they climb over here, they don't get a shock. So very quickly, you start finding out that the rats are not dumb. They don't go to the one of the light. They go to the one of the dark, and they get out, right? Well, at first, all the rats are getting shocked. But as time goes by, and these are rats that don't know each other, they don't even go over to the one where they're going to get the shock. They just go directly to this one, right? Because the ones that come before. Same thing with crossword puzzles. We found that if you look at crossword puzzles, the very, very difficult crossword puzzles aren't so difficult after a week or so, or after because many people have solved the crossword puzzle. I tell my students when they want to take a test, right? Here's what you do. Take a test. You know what everybody else is going to do on the SAT, whatever it is, PSAT, ACT, whatever it is. They're going to start at 1 and go to 100 if it's a 100-question test, right? So what you're going to do to make your life easier is you're going to start at 100 and go back down to 1. Why? Because there will be many other people in the room who have gotten the right answer between 1, right? So as you are doing 100, they haven't got here yet, but as you get there, you're going to start doing problems that have already been solved by everybody else. Get it? So it will become easier and easier to get the answers because more and more people will have gotten the answers that have already done it. All right, so the moral of all of that is the fact that there are many that have come. Oops, what did I do with it? Right here. There are many that have come before you, right? And have figured this stuff out. I've shown you documents wherein, oops, not that document. I'm in trouble with that document. This document, and oops, where that one went? Can't find it. There you go. Right? Because you got to show proof, right? You can't just talk out your ass. You got to actually have some proof. Find out who Wayne Stump is and get this letter. I put it in other things, right? But basically what he says is, it's come to my attention that numerous individuals in our state have rescinded all of their contracts with the United States federal government. You're allowed to rescind your contracts. You're not going to get in trouble. You're not going to be, right? Fucking slaves are so fucking timid, it makes me insane. Well, if I become free, maybe they'll come and kill me. Okay, you win. Right? Let them come and kill you. But they're not going to come and kill you for just telling them that, oh, by the way, I want to expatriate from the corporation called United States and become a state citizen and reclaim my estate, and I'm revoking your freaking power of attorney, and you don't get to rip me off anymore, and you're not writing bonds on my sons or daughters, you're not going to freaking vaccinate these children against my will, you're not going to attempt to administrate my property, and your children are part of your living estate and your property, but if you call them children, now they're subject to statute, because the words have meaning and you don't know the fucking meaning of the fucking words. And so they trap you with the meanings of these words when you go into court like an ignorant fucking infant, and you don't even know your name. Then they literally smile at you. and they can't hear you. Anyway, this document right here tells you that there are others that came before. And what's the date on this document? 1985. Right? How long ago was that? Okay, so there are many. What's the date on this one? Right? 2008. There are many, many, many people that, and this isn't the first book he sold, I promise. There are many, many people that are getting this knowledge. And something happens to us, right? The more of us that learn, the more of us that know a thing, the more of us that know a thing. Whatever that thing is. The more of us that are starting to figure out, wait a minute. I'm a man. I'm not dead. Wait a minute. I'm not a decedent. Wait a minute. I'm not a sumset. Wait a minute. I'm not, you can't fucking tell me what to wear. Right? Many people are starting to figure this shit out. Okay, so the more people that figure this shit out, the more people that do this, is the easier it is for everybody to do it, whether or not you know them or not. That's just something that happens among us animals because there's a little more going on here than meets the eye, and I'm not going to go down those metaphysical roads. But the bottom line is the more people that know a thing, the more people that know a thing. And this very simple concept. If you're going to play their game, a lot of times you're going to need two notaries. Why do you need two notaries? Well, because anybody can get a notary. I can get a notary from I can get the stamp, that stamp right there. I can get it from the state of Illinois, just order it. I'm not a notary. I haven't taken the test. I'm not official, but I can stamp all my documents if I'm a person that's off my square and I have mischief in my documents and I want to, steal your house or whatever it is using that notary. So what the federal government has done is that, no, we don't need just one notary. We need somebody to certify that this notary is an actual bona fide notary. Right, so this person over here is generally, in this case, it was the clerk of the court, but you can also have your attorney general because they're the ones that take care of your notaries. So you have them notarize the fact that this is a real notary. So you need both of them. All right, because a lot of times you don't want to be bothering the clerk of the court to notarize all your documents. Although I talked to one clerk of the court and she goes, yeah, I can notarize documents for you. I was like, oh, how come you didn't say that? See, here's the deal. I gotta censor the story. But back from when I was 12, like 6th grade, there were 3 of us that were friends, right? 3 guys that we were known, right? We were such good friends that if you saw one of us alone, we'd know where the other 2 were. Probably we know better than our parents knew where we were, right? Okay, close friends. Okay, we stayed close friends all through high school and growing up. One of my close friends' girlfriend, he's now dead, dumbass. Ugh. Anyway, yeah, you smoke cigarettes, drink beer, and have medical conditions, and you don't get to be old. So anyway, 2 out of the 3 of us are left. One of them's gone. His ex-girlfriend is a clerk down in the courts. And we used to hang out all the time. Every weekend, all the time. Go on boating trips, go on car trips, all kind of stuff. All right. So I have a little bit of an in there. Let's put it that way. Although I've noticed she doesn't tell me everything. Let's put it that way. But the bottom line is you can't just have one notary. Now, here's the other thing. You got a thumbprint. You got some fingerprints. You got footprints. Yeah, that gives you a unique thing too. And then you might want to, I don't have it around here, you might want to have a seal so that your original documents, and then you might want to learn about not signing in black ink, but using either purple or blue ink so that you can see the original documents very quickly and easily. Right? That's the only reason, because if it's black, you can't tell if it's the original or not. And when you submit stuff to the court, it has to be original documents, right? So purple ink or blue ink as opposed to, and red ink if you're, anyway, stay away from the red ink for the most part. But anyway, the idea is, unless you're like signing the contract like this, right, then it becomes very clear that, like on this contract, if there was a red, right, the red stands out, doesn't it? All right. Anyway, and it does freaking matter. It matters. All right, but the idea being is that many people have come before you. Many, many, many. And guess what? They're not talking. And now I understand, because I'm at the point where I can scarcely stand to look at some of my countrymen. Right? There's mask wearers that will put masks on their children. These are people that are educated. Some of these people they're wealthy, and they're putting masks on their teenagers. They're putting masks on their 10-year-olds. Are you fucking kidding me? Because why again? And what's the survival rate? Over and over again. I just watched a Gerald Celente video where he's getting pretty pissy. It's like 99.4, depending on how you look at it. Whatever it is, if you just go this far, it's 99.9. The chances of you dying from the Rona are slim to none, even if you get it, right? So these people saying, "Oh, well, Trump spreading it with the coronavirus with his meetings and so." Fuck you. I mean, just fuck you, right? He's having huge gatherings and he shouldn't be because he's spreading the Rona. Can you figure out that this was how they were trying to control you? This was how they were trying to make it with the Rona so that you couldn't gather and you couldn't see with your own eyes. What a fucking phenomenon this is, right? And just because once again, and see, people are so fucking stupid, it's painful. I point out the fact that the media is absolutely positively lying to you. That doesn't make me a Trump supporter. It makes me a realist. He's got, 75,000 cars in a Trump parade. 75,000. 96 miles of cars in Arizona. Right? 96 miles. Cars waving Trump flags and American flags, showing their support for Trump. Show me a mile for Biden. Show me fucking 500 feet for Biden. Right? Show me 750 cars for Biden. Show me any boat rallies, right? We had a boat rally in Hawaii, and there was a crap ton of boats. I don't know how many were there, but I mean, it was a lot of boats. And again, in Hawaii, the Democrat states, California. I mean, just go down the list, right? There's no way this many people are showing up for this guy, and actually Biden's going to win. And that's just, again, that's not me being a Trump supporter. That's me observing reality. Right? Like I didn't go down. I'm not telling you about the Trump rally from a third-party perspective in an armchair looking at pictures on the internet. I went to the fucking Trump rally to go talk to these people and go watch what happened and go see with my own eyes and just be a passive observer. Right? Thomas 42, become the passerby. Go look it up. Thomas 42. Anyway, not canon, right? So again. Let's talk about this whole thing going back. It's the same guys, it's the same system going back to Roman times. And I can go from Rome, we can go to Phoenicia, we can go back in time. It's the same fucking system of slavery, except this time they've gotten smart. They don't tell the slaves you're slaves. That's as simple as that. Right? Because when you find out you're a slave, you get a little pissy. I promise. Right? So the idea is just don't tell them they're slaves. Right? And keep them dumbed down. But do you really think the Romans were going to put, oops, I don't have my Bible handy, it's over there. But anyway, in that Bible, in that book, do you really think that they were going to leave all the stuff about reincarnation in there? Or did they pull it out? And there's quotes where one of the Roman emperor's wives, like, you can't let them know or they'll be impossible to govern. Because if you knew that they got rid of this body and you'd just be back, you might not be so timorous. You might not be so afraid because fear is how they rule you. Fear, fear, fear. It's when you get down to it, it's fear of death that's made this whole thing happen. The reason why they can get these pathetic fucking idiot fools to put their masks on, what do they just do with that mask, is because they're afraid to die. And the Rona might kill them. Right? And now they use the virtue bullshit where it's like, oh, put the mask. You're not wearing the mask for yourself. You're wearing the mask for others. When in the history of history has a healthy person given another person a disease? It's never fucking happened, and it's never gonna happen because healthy people don't give other people diseases. It's that simple. But right here in front of me. But what they did with this thing, forget it, right? Oh, right? I'm not a slave. Right? Oh my God. Look at the history of how they've used this in the past. If you can, because Google will be, right? There is a book burning going on right now that's insane. Google will absolutely not show you history. It won't show you mathematics. I was amazed. Farr's Law. That is the curve on Farr's Law. This is cases, this is time. Or this is, incidents, and this is time. That's Farr's Law. It's not Farr's suggestion. You can't find this graph on Google anymore. Right? They are fucking with your knowledge. The fact that back in Roman times they had light at night. The fact that at Roman times they had these things called elevators and they were working with trumps, right? They didn't just use stairs. All of that erased from history. You see how quickly and easily these guys can change everything. Right? Go to the shopping malls. Go to Disneyland. Gone. Right? All these different places that used to have entertainment. What they were telling you, the authoritarians are taking over, and what they were telling you and what they gave you notice of for fucking decades in various books. You can read them off, right? You know, Orwell and all of these guys, Huxley and all of them, they told you that you're going to get to the point where you are allowed to go to work, slave, and you are allowed to come home, right? And bars and restaurants, fuck you, right? Get your food off of Amazon or whatever the hell it is. Have it delivered. Don't go out with your friends. Stay away from your friends. Don't even talk to your friends. And certainly don't use this device to communicate. Right? Sports. Well, sports was just the Roman Colosseum, right? The Caligula class giving you bread and circus, right? I mean, it's clear. If you guys can, and you have friends that know all the stats in football, or maybe it's baseball, or maybe it's basketball, but they know dick about the hyphen in this word, right? They know all that shit, but they know nothing that's in this book. They know all that shit, but they don't know a fucking thing about the language that they speak. And certainly, why would these fucking idiot peasants need to know the meanings of those words, right? But they can tell you to this day, you know, how many fucking passing yards Joe Namath had back in fucking the 70s. They can tell you all about, right? But they can't tell you what happened in 1871 in this country. They can't tell you what happened in 1933. Don't know, don't want to know. Just pay their taxes and get some beer on Friday. Right? I mean, it's just sad and pathetic what's going on in this nation. Education, education, education. How many times have I said it? Every one of these Sunday schools, right? Educate self, educate others. And then understand the 100 monkey theory that the more people that know a thing, the more people that know a thing. So the more, right? So the more you read and know words, the more the collective unconscious understands that reading and those words. And it'll be easier for them to read those words. The more guys like me, the more guys like you, right? It's like throwing that, the metaphor is throwing the pebble into the pond and then the ripples, right? So you got to know what to say and who to say it to. And now I'm learning, don't be verbose, right? Don't be wordy. One of the best things that ever happened to me is running into a guy way back in the day when I was fighting with the IRS back in the 90s, was a guy named Dan Medora that basically told me, don't fucking show them how smart you are. Make them show you how smart they are. Right? Now, and in your declarations and in your statements, you don't want to add any don't put Latin in there. Don't fucking put codes and statutes in there. Don't cite the fucking their codes and statutes or any of that. None of that. Right? Now, if you want to attach stuff, like, hey, here's an attachment of 25 pages, basically, that says you ain't got jurisdiction. I'll put that here. Oh, do you want to go over a couple of those things? Let's go over a couple of those things. Not that one. Not that one. Ooh, that's a good one. This is a whole thing about the concept and fact that the corporation that owns us is absolutely positively bankrupt. And what that means and what they had to try to do to, anyway. Okay, there's the one I want. 135 page PDF. Actually, it's not pages. It's slides. So it's not like it's written word on 8.5 by 11, but it's 135 slides that basically talk about jurisdiction. Right? Jurisdiction can be challenged at any time, and jurisdiction once challenged cannot be assumed. It must be decided. Basso v. Utah Power and Light Company, 395 F. 2nd, 906, 910. Jurisdiction, once challenged, jurisdiction cannot be assumed. It must be proved to exist. Struck v. Medical Examiners, 94 CA, 2nd, 2D, 751, 211 P, 2D, 289. Jurisdiction. However late this objection to jurisdiction has been made or may be made in any cause in an inferior or appellate court of the United States, not the United States of America, it must be considered and decided before any court can move one step further in the cause. Any movement is necessarily the exercise of jurisdiction. because they can't move without jurisdiction. And you need to know what move means. They're moving a case through a court, right? You're moving. It just goes on and on. Where jurisdiction is contested, the burden of establishing it rests upon the plaintiff, right? Not the defendant. And you're not a defendant. That's the other thing. They try to tell you, just because you call a fucking dog's tail a leg, it doesn't make the dog's tail a leg. Just because they call you a defendant doesn't make you a defendant. Let's see. Unless you decide, yeah, I'm the defendant. Defendant here? Yeah, here I am. Right? What do you say to a Samoan in a three-piece suit? Will the defendant please rise? That's a joke in a way. Anyway, bottom line is, I'll put this there too, right? But you don't make this part of your thing. You make it an attachment. You might, right? Because they've already seen all this. This is the other thing you need to understand. You ain't the first one. They're just trying to make you think you're the first one. You're not the first one to come through here and tell them that, oh, by the way, I'm a man. Oh, by the way, I'm non-decedent. Oh, by the way, the jig's up. I know you're writing bonds on me. Oh, I figured out secret liens and secret agreements, which are unlawful and illegal. I figured this out. Well, so what, slave? Right? You got a gun? You gotta be belligerent? We'll just snuff you out. You got a club? What are you gonna do? Nothing. You're gonna use. Oops. Well, don't use green. I don't have one here. Oh, yes, there you go. Pen mightier than sword, if you know what to write. You can even write it in pencil, and they have to accept it when you get right down to it. But use a pen, because then they can't erase it, and there's less chance for fuckery. But the idea being is pen mightier than sword. Pen mightier than sword. But not if you're ignorant, right? So you got to learn a few things, learn what the words mean, and then act accordingly. And see, I have always been guilty of writing too goddamn many words on my documents, right? So you want to keep the words short, right? 1 page, not 25 pages, right? Like I said, that one thing, all right, you might want to attach to your 1 page this other stuff, but they already know that jurisdiction needs to be checked, right? They're aware of stare decisis. They're aware of res judicata. They're aware of some of those cases. You might want to make them aware that you're aware by putting it in as an attachment. But all of those cases and all of that jurisdiction and all that fucking code and all that other stuff and all that contract law and trust law and all that stuff has nothing to do with the fact that you're a man or a woman, right? Which is the main thing, the main declaration that you want to make. I'm alive and I'm a man, and if you want to fucking act or move upon me, you need a contract that I agree to. All right, so let's just start from square one. My bad, right? I'm an ignorant fuck, just like everybody else. The bankers didn't tell me. They didn't oddly enough, they didn't set up a schooling system that told us about, pledging and grammar and lawfare and warfare and how they use it against us and the bonding and the secret agreements. Oddly enough, they didn't tell us about any of that stuff in college or in high school. Because if we knew that stuff, then maybe we wouldn't stay in their system as bonded freemen, as basically chattel property, as slaves, as cattle. And once you figure out that you're right, and that's the first thing you got to understand, because I remember when I was back in the day when I was like, I'm not a slave, I'm a free man. Lincoln emancipated us. No, he didn't. Anyway, but the idea being is that's the first step, is you got to realize that no, they really have mind fucked you into thinking that you're free when you're not. Where they can extract wealth from you, where you ask them for permission to build anything, where you ask them permission, may I please cross this border? Where you ask them, right? No, you have the right to travel. Simple. Cannot be impeded. All right. But the idea is that for the most part, most people can't come to terms with the fact that these things are true, and that no, you didn't learn them in high school, and you didn't learn them in college, and you're never going to learn them in high school, and you're never going to learn them in college unless you homeschool, right? My son is gobbling up this information and telling some of his friends, right? The more people that know a thing, the more people that know a thing. And I actually had one of his friends email me and said, it's just very short. I would like to learn some law. What do you think I should read? Well, let's start with this. Here's a behemoth. Why not read this? Right? You got the time. when you're in high school or in college, you've got free time. See, when you get older, as my son is also starting to figure out, and I'm just making him do it for the giggles of it because I want him to understand the day's labor. But when you have to go to work 8 hours a day, you might not be having time to read that book right there, because this took a little while to read. One of the basic premises in here, free will must be preserved. Right? That men and women have free will, and that it must be preserved. And governments are should be created that help to preserve that free will, not stymie or stifle it. But they trick you. Right? So the idea is that once you start learning this stuff, the basic concept is once you begin to learn this stuff, more people will learn this stuff, because you'll talk about it, then you'll start to see that, no, this isn't bullshit. This isn't conspiracy theory. This isn't some crazy rabbit hole. Well, it is a crazy rabbit hole, but it's not nonsense. No, you have status, you have capacity. And for the most part, no one ever told you about your status or your capacity. And you didn't know that you should probably change it from chattel property. Right, a dead ward of the state, a infant of unknown origin is what it boils down to. Because if you look at that document, the birth certificate, it does not declare you alive. It actually declares you dead. It does not tell you who your mom and dad are. It tells you that they don't know who your mommy and daddy are, and that your mother was unwed at the time. And anyway, you're an infant of unknown origin. All right, so you need to let them know that, no, actually, I knew my father, I knew my mother, I knew their parents, I knew their parents, right? I didn't know 3 out of 4 grandparents were dead by the time when I came around. So I only knew my grandmother, right? My grandfather had already died before I was born. On my father's side, they were already dead before I was born. So I only knew one grandparent, but I knew they existed, and I know their names. Right? I know who they are. Right? There's a difference between their names and who they are. And I can go back another generation. At least on my mom's side, I can go back multiple generations. On my father's side, I can go back all the way to slavery on the Rogers plantation and the Boone plantation, the actual plantations, one in Virginia and the other one in Alabama. Those are my ancestors way back there, right? The names have changed since then over time, but they were on those plantations. When the Emancipation Proclamation was created, my father's family in Alabama was emancipated, but they were slaves at the time. They had descended from Cherokees and black men and Irishmen, right? They were here on the land more than 3 generations. I can trace those other guys back 7, 10 generations. Right? On the other side, on the quote-unquote white side of the family, and if you think you're a color, you've already lost this battle, go back multiple generations, and you wind up in Lithuania and Russia and Poland. On the other side, you wind up in Germany and Denmark and Sweden. Right? I mean, you should know who your ancestors are. And they came to this country because they believed in that American dream. They believed that they could be free men and they could come here and stay. And then what happened? The Lithuanians came here, managed to smuggle their money out when the Russians were taking over Lithuania, and bought farmland, and those farms were stolen from them. So I have one grandparent that, granduncle, not a grandparent, it's my grandfather's brother, said, fuck this, and went back to Lithuania. Because everything that he had worked for had been stolen in that, just like now, exactly the same thing as now. In that crash of 29, when the farmers were, right, they couldn't get their product to market, people were starving, but everything had seized up, and they had produce, but they couldn't sell it. Same thing that you're going to see start happening here if our credit seizes up, wherein our farmers and they were trying to make it where there's a meat shortage and a chicken shortage. Remember that? And all this other, right? Okay, but Trump has thwarted them in numerous ways, keeping those supply lines open. Right? Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Trump. He's in the Billionaire Boys Club. He's in a club that you guys don't even understand. We don't even understand that life, right? The billionaires. I've hung around with billionaires. It's a completely different thing. Completely different. Money is like water. You just don't waste it, right? But worrying about rent, worrying about flying from A to B. If there's no flights, just fucking call up a private company and get a private jet instead. Right? Easier and faster usually. Don't have to rub elbows with the freaking unwashed masses that are standing in mass and having all their bags checked and shit like that. You fly private, and got anything in those bags I should know about? No. All right. Have a nice day, sir. Done. That was the bag check. Then we sit around in a very plush, almost like a lounge bar at it, and hang out until the plane is juiced up and ready to go. Right? Completely different way of looking at things. Let's see here. What is he saying? Yep. Yep. Constantly, in all manner of ways, they are giving you notice. You wouldn't think that the movies like Pirates of the Caribbean. What is the first thing that Captain Jack Sparrow does when he walks in? I'm not lost at sea. I'm not dead. Oh man, movie after The Matrix is the best one. Oh man, did they put all kind of disclosure in The Matrix, trying to get you guys to figure out what the fuck's going on. And by the way, did Neo fill out a whole bunch of paperwork? Right? Because that's the other thing in a lot of the Patriot movement and a lot of the sovereign guys and so forth is that, well, not the Patriot movement so much, but the sovereign citizen movement and the free men and so forth. You try to do their job for them, right? Did Neo fill out any fucking paperwork? No, they fill out the paperwork. Right? They do all the accounting. They do all the settling of your debt, right? Because they were administering your estate. You weren't. You were being completely negligent, right? You weren't administering your estate. You weren't taking care of who wrote bonds against you. You weren't doing any of that stuff. You weren't even aware of it. You were completely ignorant of it. Now, again, I have some issue with that because it's not your fault, not my fault. If I would have known, maybe I would have administered. I didn't even know I had a fucking estate to administer, right? So the bottom line is they are going to do the accounting. They are going to set up the accounts for you. They are going to move shit around once you decide, slave, that you don't want to be a slave anymore and you don't want to be part of United States Corporation or state of Hawaii or state of California or state of Florida or whatever the fuck it is, right? Or county of Maui or county of Kennesaw or county of whatever the fuck it is. Right? The idea being is that you need to let them know, and there is a process for going through it. And I will tell you in advance, don't be like this guy and make your freaking declaration multiple pages long. Make your declaration super short and sweet, and then you might want to attach stuff. And the other thing you want to do, as I've talked to more and more people now, oops, what did you do with it? Use this, right? Don't use your printer. I got a printer attached to this machine, right? Don't print out documents. I don't have any handy. Okay, well maybe this one, right? Don't print out a document that looks like this. Hand write it. That'll keep you brief also, right? So handwritten, given by your hand. Again, they can't forge that. Now, if your handwriting is complete chicken scratch, you may want to attach to that handwriting a written document so that they can read what you wrote. But if you can write legibly and neatly, and that's why penmanship counts, is right. Penmanship with me, I was a brat kid. I can't spell to save my life. I can do math, but I can't spell. Why can I do math? Because math made sense. Spelling, what the fuck, right? I before E except after C and all these other exceptions and all. Anyway, but see, now I realize, yeah, that's partially on. This guy named Francis Bacon. It's partially on purpose, again, exactly for that, so that they can use grammar against you, so they can use the words against you. See, the one thing that I did do as a child, though, is I was fascinated with reading dictionaries. Right? I mean, people always used to tease me because I would read a dictionary like a book. I would just read dictionaries. And I still like to read dictionaries. Now I have an opportunity even more to read dictionaries. Read, what does Bouvier say? What does Black say? What does Anderson say? Same word. How far off are these? Anyway. And then, the other thing that's interesting is Black's Law 5th edition as compared to Black's Law 11th edition. Anyway, the point being is that you want to write your thing out, right? I am a man. I am non-deceived. Right? You want to make your declarations. You want to write the name and address over here, just like they taught you in school. You want to put your date and your autograph up here. You want to sign down here. You need to know, should I put that? Let me just read this to you because this was good for me. Except, oh my God, I might not be able to find it because it's so much has been happening lately. But there is absolutely, positively it matters where you sign. If you sign on the left or the right or the middle, each one of those things has meaning because custom, and this is the other thing, Custom is the most important thing. Custom actually trumps law. And then law often flows from custom. Let's see here. Am I going to find that? Oh. Do any of you remember the pictures of the commercials where, pregnant women with cigarettes? Remember that? Yeah, these same people are telling you to put masks on. Not that, not that. I'm not going to find it. Oh, here's a good quote that I'll read to you on my way there. State citizens are the only ones living under free government whose rights are incapable of impairment by legislation or judicial decision. That's Twining v. New Jersey, 211 U.S. 97, 1908. State citizenship is a vested substantial property right. Yeah, see, now I'm starting to figure out property rights. Huge, huge in your estate. You have property rights. Your children, that they call children so that they can get them under statute, are actually your living estate. Living estate is property. Your estate is your property. It is the only property that you absolutely positively have ownership on. And your living estate, your children, and your wife, by the way, are your property, technically, right? When they, women hate to be called property, children hate, that's slavery. No. This is legalese, and property is what they are, right? So they may not administer your property without your consent. They may not take your property without your consent. They must restore your property when you ask for it back. Because I saw one in court. It was great. This woman was a freaking belligerent and drunk Mexican woman, stripper chick that, anyway, they took her 3-year-old and she walked into court demanding her property be returned to her. And they returned her property. Anyway, state citizenship is a vested substantial property right, and the state has no power to divest or impair these rights. So it sounds to me that you want to be a state citizen, not a U.S. person. Favett v. Kingsbury, 1929-98 CAL APP 284 276P 1083. So Favett v. Kingsbury, 1928. That should be enough for you to find it. And if you can write this quote down, Google will send it back. See, this is what's beautiful about this. You can look up all this stuff now instantaneously. But state citizenship is where you want to be. All right, so that's actually not what I was looking for, though. What I was looking for is where you sign or what it means when you sign. Oh, also, you might want to check out losthorizons.com. He figured out a few things when it came to taxes, but just look up losthorizons.com. Pete Hendrickson, another bonehead that wouldn't listen to me because he knew more than I did, but wound up having jail time and all kind of stuff because they are not honorable. They're not going to do the right thing. Same thing with the other guy whose name that always escapes me, who was trying to stand on 861, and 861 is not happening. Oh, look up 28 U.S. Code 1346, United States as defendant. Just look that up, just for fun. Let's see here. Skip that. Okay, signatures, here we go. So, know your scribe, know the sign, right? Did Jesus tell you to know your signs? Yes, he did. Numerous times. And again, do you think the Romans were going to put all that stuff in, or do you think that they actually pulled shit out of your books to make sure that you stayed ignorant, right? Because the Romans didn't want you understanding a lot of this stuff, right? So they put it in there, and they put it in there codified. They put it there in code, right? So just like before when I was talking about traveling on the road, right, or conveying yourself, they use different words, flowery words in your Bible to disguise a lot of this stuff. And if you knew what you were reading and you knew what the words meant, you knew what you were, like Leviticus, that's bankruptcy law. Anyway, signatures, know your scribe and where they sign. Left, that's the debtor, that's the defendant, that's a trustee or an agent, right? Right, that's the creditor, that's the prosecutor, that's, if you know what pro se is, that's the principal or judge, right? Middle, and I've seen this now, where I had a couple of documents that were signed in the middle. Not on the left, not on the right, but in the middle, clearly in the middle. And clearly they wanted to make sure that you understood that they weren't signing left or right, that they were signing in the middle underneath their document, underneath what they said. Anyway, And by the way, where does the queen sign? Where does the king sign? Where does the sovereign sign? Do they sign underneath or do they sign on top? Okay, all right. All right, so middle is beneficiary, grantor, non-combatant, or medicant monk. I love it. So if you're a monk or a medicant, you can sign in the middle. Armed with this, you'll know the role of a correspondent and probably start observing this on paperwork. So technically, if this is a form, I signed in the middle. I didn't sign on the left or the right. However, if you open the whole thing up, now I have signed on, and I didn't sign, by the way. I didn't endorse this. I just put no contract because we don't have one. Where is it? Right? Is it on the very bottom? It's not on the bottom. There's more stuff underneath this, right? The summons and all this other stuff, right? And then I certify that I served the defendant on this date and in the place indicated on the citation. That's all in a box, and they have now tried to turn a man into a defendant. Listen to some Carl Lentz, where he talks about, I'm not a defendant. Just because you call that fucking dog's tail a leg doesn't make that dog's tail a leg. All right. So anyway, understand left, right, and middle when it comes to endorsements. Like I said, all of this, this is their, what's the word I want? This is their paper magic. This is their, I don't have, what's the word I want? But this is the way that they get you. This is the way that they do grammar fair, law fair, and word fair against you. You don't understand where the signatures, you don't know how to endorse, which is why you have a mortgage. You don't understand a lot of different things, right? So the idea is you need, how do you cure that? You go read. And then here's the other thing. You're going to find that, like this one, I love this book, but wrong but true, right? Again, you don't want your declarations to be 25 fucking pages long. You want your declaration to be, I mean, like if you go 3 pages, you've gone too far. Also, what kind of paper you want to use? I think you want to use legal paper. Why do you want one of these? Because the green jacket. Oh, and that's right. So you look on the card for justice in the tarot. Are they usually wearing a green mantle? That green mantle is the mantle, right? Do you get a green jacket when you win the Champions Cup? Yeah, you're the master, right? The green jacket is the master. That red ruby, right? That gem over here, that crown with 3 points. What is that? The 2, which you'll find on your Social Security card, the 2 pillars, right? I'm talking about the Justice card, card 11 in the tarot deck. Take a look at it, right? It's not a blind woman in a freaking shroud, right? And if you think you're going to get justice from a blind woman whose scales are down and sword is up, instead of the other, or excuse me, whose sword is down and scales are up, that's the woman, you ain't getting justice out of that, right? A king who can see, seated on a throne between the pillars, wearing the green mantle, that can affect judgment. That's where you're going to get equity. And that's not what happens in any of our courts. Okay. Uh-oh. I don't know. The website that explains where the signatures are. I didn't pull that off a website that, I don't know. I don't have a website. You'll have to go find that for yourself. And you can't use Google. Actually, where did I get that? I cut and pasted that off of someplace. You're correct, but I don't remember where at this point. Or it might have just been a meme on one of the sovereign sites on social media. Let's see here. But just understand what I just said. You can back it up. From what I've seen, this is true. But trust but verify, right? Okay. Just for fun, notice on this document where it's signed, left and right, right and left. Oh, it's signed on that side. It's not signed on this side, and it's not signed in the middle. And just understand, everything on the document is important. The colors are important. Green is important. 8.5 by 11 as opposed to legal size papers. Probably you want to use legal size, right? Again, you want to write on those papers, right? Not print those papers unless you're printing. Well, just to be sure, you might want to give a printed copy so that there can be no mistake. But if you write neatly and legibly, you don't need to, right? And write to the people, write to the man, write to Mnuchin as Secretary of, Treasury Secretary. Well, see, and he has capacity. Again, he has two hats that he wears: Secretary of the Treasury, right? Secretary of the Treasury and Treasury Secretary, right? Secretary of State and the State Secretary. Actually, the Secretary of State is called the Secretary of the State no matter what. But the idea being is that you need to know who you're talking to and then talk to them like they're a person. Right? Hi, I'm not dead, and I'm going to be needing your help to set up an account here with the Treasury because, all right, because I'm, reclaiming my estate, and it's going to be tendered through the bankruptcy court, and so you should be hearing from me shortly with regard to setting up an account. Hi, you are the Attorney General, and I thought I would notify you that I am reclaiming my estate, and so forth, right? And actually keep it shorter than that. I'm a man, right? No longer need your services to administer my estate as the Secretary as the Attorney General. I'm revoking your power of attorney, and this is your letter letting you know, right? Something like, but anyway, briefer than that, smarter than that. Just giving you examples. Secretary of the State. By the way, I'm a living man. I'm turning in some of these other documents. Here's here's the numbers for them, and I will need documents that reflect the fact that I'm a man and I have the right to travel. Right? You'll be hearing from me more shortly. Right? Because you got to put stuff in. Dear IRS, I'm non-decedent. Here's the code section. Here's right. Dear blah, blah. Okay, and then as an attachment, you might want to put in the code sections that say, yes, you're allowed to expatriate. Yes, from the United States Corporation. But the idea being is that you treat these people the way you want to be treated, and you'll probably get more flies with honey than you would with the vinegar. Because, yeah, I'm a little pissed off about all of this, but at the same time, these guys never did anything to me. I'm just in the system. I'm just another slave in the system that woke up and went, oh, okay, not their fault. They didn't do anything to me, technically. They're part of the apparatus that did something to me, but Mnuchin didn't do anything to me. My Secretary of State over here, I never even met the woman. She's never even met me. She's never been to my house. She doesn't know who I am. Right? She's technically not at fault. So I need to inform her. By the way, there's a non-resident alien in your state. What you consider your state. Hi, I have a depository. You can respond to that depository, right? But I'm not a resident of your state. I'm a state citizen that was born in another state, and now I live in this state. I was born in Illinois, right? So I'm born in Illinois. I'm not a resident of this state. I'm a state citizen, and as I just read to you, state citizens, that's where it's at. So you need to reclaim your state citizenship. You need to reclaim your title, and you can prove it. Do you have a birth certificate that says you were born in that state? Well, then, yeah, by the way our law works in this country, if you were born there, you're right. That's why they have all these anchor babies. They can just get their baby across the border into what's considered the United States. All kind of rights and privileges for that baby. And they're thinking about changing that, where you don't just get citizenship by birth. But as it stands now, I was born in a sovereign state, which makes me a state citizen, and that lives in another state. And guess what? They set up trusts over there. They set up trusts over here. Any place that you've lived and had a driver's license or a marriage certificate or any of that stuff or a mortgage, they probably set up trusts for you that you don't know about. So what you need to do, because like I said, you haven't been administering your estate, they have. You need to get that estate taken care of. But don't worry, they got it all handled on the numbers, because all the stuff that was set up with your social security number and those routing numbers and that birth certificate number, right? Because you usually use your birth certificate to get your social security number, and you use your social security number to get the licenses, right? So you want to claim those licenses, you want to claim those that estate, and here's the numbers for you to render it and make sense of it, right? Don't try to fill out all the forms for them. Right? Like I said, handwritten letter. You may want to include some of the forms that you're referencing if it's that, but I assure you they know what forms to use. You may want to give them limited power of attorney and then revoke it on a time limit. On my birthday of next year, none of you have power of attorney to administer my estate anymore. The Attorney General definitely doesn't have power of attorney. Secretary of State doesn't have power of attorney. And so the state that you're living in, the state you're born in, you need to notify those 4 people. Those are the heavies. You need to notify United States corporations, Secretary of State, that, right? So the states and then the federal, right? So you need to let them know that, by the way, I'm reclaiming my estate. I'm not dead. I'm alive, blah, blah, blah. You need to let the Treasury Secretary know because he's the one that's got to set up the account so that you can take all of the bonds and all the other stuff and get those rendered and get those settled and settlement options and discharge and all the crazy stuff that's going on. I'm sure that you have. You guys settle it, take the proceeds, whatever, and put it into this account and then give me access to that account, either by signature or by card or by check or whatever, right? Okay. Obviously, there's more to it than this. I'll put some more links. I've been going on for 2 hours. Good God. Enough. Go back and watch this thing from the beginning. If I take the fucking time to write, to tell you the different acts and cases and so forth, look them up. But again, don't put court cases in your declarations. Don't put statutes in your declarations. Don't put any of that stuff in your declarations. You may attach it, but do not put it in it. And then again, learn those little tiny words, act, of, in. Those are the important words. And then find out about claims. Right? Who has the superior claim? You do. The state does not have the superior claim over your own children. They don't. Right? That's your property, not their property. Right? They can try to intercede if you let them, but you don't let them. Right? So, and then all of a sudden, they're not going to try to get you. Right? And then put in your fee schedules, $1 a minute, right, or $1 a second. Right, for every second, right? So you need to know what a fee schedule is, and who do you send a fee schedule to? Your sheriffs and your police department. By the way, both private corporations. They're not de jure. Your sheriff might be de jure, depending, but I haven't seen one personally. But the idea being is that you have these various people that tell you that they have authority over you, and that no, not without a contract, you don't. Can you show me a contract? Can you show me where you disclose to me? Can you show me where you derive your jurisdiction and authority over me? Right? And again, don't sue the man, or excuse me, don't sue the office, sue the man. So you're either on one side or the other. Oh, God, there's no ink in that pen. How about this? Oh, wait, where's my blue one? Ooh, how about, right? And that's corpse when you get down to it. So over here, this is where all the bonds are and so forth. So when I sue the governor or the mayor in this state, I'm not going to sue the man particularly. I'm going to sue his bonds. Because they all got bonds. They all got licenses and bonds. They got a gubernatorial license. They got a mayoral license. They got licensing to this. Your police officer has a license because otherwise it would be illegal. So they have a license. So that license comes with some surety. That license comes right, just like anybody who does any kind of business. Usually you're bonded, right? I know a lady here. She just does yard work and housework. She's bonded in case she fucks up your house or in case she screws up your lawn or whatever, or causes water damage. Anyway, she's bonded. Bottom line, right? So you're not going to sue the man. You're going to sue the bonds of the man. So they have a surety company. Probably it's Travelers, right? Can't tell. It could be any number of insurance companies. And you're going to say, hey, I've got a claim. I need a claim form. Right? Who are you going to make claims against? Well, you got to know the names of the people that were in your court case, or you got to know the names of the people that were, the name of your governor, the name of your mayor, the name of the people that have decided that they can tell you what to do without any authority. So you're just going to let them know, by the way, no, you can't. And now that you've harmed me, and see, this is the 3 things in a court. There has to be an injured party. There must be damage, right? In my case, they've called me in the court, and I've had to miss money, work, because I had to be in court when I was supposed to be tutoring math, right? That's money out of my pocket. So then you have to understand the term. Oh, what's the term? Right? I keep learning words. And again, don't use their language. The term is restitution in integrum, right? The rescinding of a contract or transaction so as to restore the parties to their original position. Restitution in integrum, right? You're rescinding the contracts, right? And then you need to restore me to where I was before all this nonsense happened. In the case of the free man, that means you recognize the fact that I'm a free man, and you quit trying to write bonds, and you quit trying to write citations wherein you use rules and orders to extract wealth from me, wherein I'm not, wearing a seatbelt or whatever, or I rolled through the stop sign. Did anyone get injured? No. Now, if you roll through a stop sign and get into an accident, none of this applies. There's a whole other animal. But if you roll through a stop sign and suddenly you got blue lights on it, was there an injured party? Oh, no. But see, they wrote statutes that said that are supposedly apply to drivers in motor vehicles that you roll through a stop sign and you owe us this much money. Anyway, all right. I'm basically done. Like I said, we got 2 hours and so going on here. Go back and look through this stuff. I hit you with as much I try to hit you with lots of information, not just a little information. I'm gonna read this to you just for fun, and we'll quit. You got to know the codes. Know the codes. Christ Jesus told you know the codes. Let's do a Hail Mary and we'll get out of here. So this is something I learned in 6th grade when I went to a Catholic school for 6 months. And it's the Hail Mary, right? Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. That's Luke 1:28. Look it up. Blessed art you among women. That's Luke 1:41. And blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Luke 1:42. Holy Mary, Mother of God. Luke 1:43. Pray for us sinners now and at the time, now and at the hour of our death. It's the King James version. That's James 5:16. So anyway, that's the Hail Mary. There's a whole lot more there than you might think. So maybe you look into it. And then, as I've said on more than one occasion, Pope says they own you. So you're going to have to let the guys in New York or Pennsylvania, or I don't remember where it is now. That one I don't have memorized. But there's a vicar because the Pope considers himself the vicar of Christ, and they have a claim on your soul. You might want to say, no, you don't. Right? I'll take care of it myself. Thank you. Virgo Mary, yes. But the idea being is that, yeah, you need to know the code, right? Okay, and that's it. You guys already distract me. Okay, so it's going to be interesting. I hope you guys prepared a little bit. I don't expect it to be quite as crazy. They're making it a little more dramatic than, right? They want it to be more dramatic than it is. However, having talked to a bunch of people on both sides, but particularly Democrats, because I can fool them into thinking that I'm one of them. By the way I look, because I'm black, I must want to vote for Biden, right? Because fuck, anyway, holy fuck, so racist. They don't even know they're racist. But anyway, I can hang out with these guys and listen to them speak, right? And it's all I can. I guess a lot of times I'm literally spying. I just go in there and shut my fucking mouth and listen to these fucking idiots repeat talking points from the media, right? Bullshit about Trump, bullshit. Really, Trump peed in Obama's bed and he was with hookers. None of that was true. They have no evidence whatsoever. Meantime, we have signatures that match up. We have verifiable laptops with all manner of crazy files. Oh, nope, they won't look at that. I don't know that. But spying on the Trump camp? I don't know that. What did Leslie Stahl say? I don't know that. This is 60 Minutes. Now, everybody that is anybody that has a thinking brain dog for a pet can see, oh, the media's in on it. Ooh, these guys are so corrupt. These guys are so vile that they can't even report the Biden story, the laptop story. These guys are so vile and so corrupt that they will cover for pedophiles that they know are pedophiles, right? Won't break the story. Won't break the story. That one woman, that good-looking woman, but a whore, right? But a good-looking, vile, filth, piece of shit human, knew that these people were absolutely trafficking and raping children, and kept her mouth shut because she was told to keep her mouth shut by the higher-ups. Right? Oh, we had Bill Clinton dead to rights. Well, then you should have fucking come forward. But right now, you can see that these people absolutely, they know, and they're not telling you. That should be clue number one, right? And I absolutely believe that the TDS people, the ones that are showing up 59,000 at a time in the cold to listen to the man speak, right, it should be pretty clear. These people don't put these people away that have committed these atrocious crimes and have been involved in traffic and so on for all these years. They're going to have, I believe, problems. They're going to have quantity has a quality all its own. I've done the number. I went and looked at, just go take a look. Google will show you that. How many hunting licenses? Does everybody that owns a gun have a hunting license? But go take a look at how many hunting licenses. We have millions and millions and millions of gun owners here, right? The largest army in the world is only a couple of million guys. We got multiple times that. I think there's like, what, 49% of guns on the planet are in the United States. Notice my verbiage. But yeah, on the North American continent, they have no ability to, if the masses would get their act together and stand up, they have no ability to control that. Like on this island, 144,000 people, 500 cops, I think 300 active, 200 reserve, right? They're a little outnumbered, and that's the way it is in every county, everywhere. Same thing, military. How many people in our military? Now go count how many gun licenses. Right? Just in Northern California and Southern Oregon alone, there is a standing army of hundreds and hundreds of thousands of guns. But you don't know who to shoot at, and can't get organized, and want to start shooting at each other because some of them guns is Democrat and some of them guns is Republican. Instead of understanding that this is one beast, right? And it comes down on two sides. Oh, I told you, the world is split in two. It comes down on Repub. Let's just put R, and it comes down on D. That's not a very good D. D. There you go. But it's the same animal. It's maybe I could do it better this way instead. D and R. Get rid of all that, and then we can put all the stuff that's under the R, right? And all right. But it's still the same bird, right? If you decide this wing is better, right? It doesn't matter, right? This is the Wigmores. These are that. Go study those guys, right? And the Mason, and then you get down to the Masons and all that stuff. But I mean, the Wigmore party, right? You've got cotton wigs and you've got conscious wigs. These guys gave you the KKK, by the way. Wasn't these guys? Was these guys? But both of these guys give us brotherhoods, right? And the brotherhoods rule this whole thing. They know all about what I just told you, and they ain't talking. Yeah, there you go. Right? It's happening. It really is. People are waking up all over the place. More and more and more people are starting to wake up to the concept that, wait a minute, we're bonded free men. Wait a minute, we're chained to the sky. Wait a minute, these guys don't have authority. These guys don't have jurisdiction. Hold on a second. Wait a minute, that's my estate. Wait a minute, I have the power to give my power of attorney to anybody I want. I can give it, I can bestow power of attorney, I can revoke power of attorney. And they can't say boo about it. And they can't tell me who to give power of attorney to. Now, it might behoove me to give power of attorney to certain people so that I might have an attorney that could represent me, or I might have a lawyer that could represent me in a case when it comes to land or something like that. Or I could give power of attorney to, anyway. But the idea being is that I can bestow power of attorney. If I can bestow it, I can revoke it. Again, once you become United States persons, you don't have unlimited capacity. You don't have unlimited power to contract. You have very limited power to contract, is subject to the statutes. You have very limited capacity, again, subject to statutes. Statutes are not law, but they absolutely apply to you until such time as you get out from under the whore of Babylon. So if you stand there saying, I don't consent, and you stand there on the side of the road, and you don't have a driver's license, you don't have a form of identification, not a driver's license, see? But if you don't have a little card that reflects the fact that you are a man or a woman, you're in for a world of hurt. Right? Same thing when you cross borders. You need to have a document, a passport, that reflects the fact that you are a man or a woman. Right? Not a U.S. person. All right. Do they want to give you these documents? No, they don't want to. Do they want you wait? No, they don't. Again, are they going to try and make you think that you're the first fucking person to ever do it? Yes, they are. But we can prove that going back at least as far as 1985 and before this, but this is just one letter. There are people that know that, yeah, you can rescind your contracts with the corporation that you call United States. You can rescind your contracts with the corporation you call State of Hawaii or State of California or Commonwealth of, or. You can rescind those contracts. But you got to let them know in writing. Okay. Find this letter. It's and you'll find it. Wayne Stump letter. And I like this. I just happen to like this one because it has the two signatures. See? And then before that, I was so ignorant. I didn't know why. Why would you need a second notary? To make sure that they know. And this is why a lot of people that were putting paperwork in and so forth, it was getting kicked back because they didn't have the second notary on it. And then people started figuring out, hey, you put that second notary on and now they accept your paperwork. All right. I think I've gone on enough. I keep saying I'm going to quit and I'm going to quit. And it looks like this stream made it the whole way because I have 9 people and some comments over here because a lot of the other ones I'm just like going on and on. And it turns out that YouTube stopped it well in advance of I didn't know that I wasn't broadcasting anymore. So anyway, get back to the beginning. As like I said, look up some of the stuff. Do your research so that you are well read, so that you understand the concepts, so that you understand the background. So it's not just some crazy talk about you claiming your estate. You understand that what happened. You understand with the birth certificates. You understand and go back and read the genesis of this. And like I said, I'll put a couple of links under here that you can look at. They're the same links that were on that other video. But I'm usually pretty famous for putting links. So if you want to come back and look some of this stuff up, look through my links and you'll find stuff there. PDFs and etc. And like I said, yeah, you want to read this book? Oops, what did I just do with it? I don't know what I just do with it. Oh, it was here 2 seconds ago. Anyway, not Chained to the Sky, but the other one. Oh, here it is. Buy the book, right? Support these people that are trying to get out. You know how hard it is to get this information out, right? And then understand that, yeah, this is from 2008. It's got all the info. It's got great information in here, but don't do like he did, where you make this crazy, wordy, long document and send it to the Secretary of the State. Keep it brief. 1, 2, 3 paragraphs. Right? Maybe just maybe just a couple of sentences, according to Carl Lentz. You keep it brief, because when you keep it brief, there's no need for adjudication and there's no misunderstanding. Right? I'm a man. Done. All kinds of things happen then if the other people know, and they do, that, yeah, if you're a man and not a corporate person, not a U.S. person, just a man or a woman, they need contracts. And see, I would love to have them try to prove jurisdiction and see what they use. Oh, well, you signed this. Did you or did you not sign this application for a driver's license? Ooh, adhesion contracts. You've never seen the other half of those contracts, right? They have secret agreements and secret liens and secret law. But no, secret agreements, secret liens, and what's the other one? Secret, there's a third one there. But the idea being is that they're secrets and they are without disclosure, without your knowledge. And that means that you have some room there to say, wait a minute, I didn't know about this. Secret agreements and secret contracts, that's the word I was looking for. Right? Secret liens, secret contracts, secret agreements. That's unlawful and illegal. That's not common law. I wasn't privy to this. Right? You can't administer my estate in secret. You can't write bonds that I don't know about. Well, you can, and they are, and they do it all the time, but you're not supposed to. That's naughty. But since you weren't administering your estate, since you weren't taking care of your estate, they took care of your estate. And a lot of these employees had no right to even be able to sign. So you got them dead to rights with fraud, and there's no statute of limitation on fraud. But you're going to be a Christian and forgive them their trespass as those who forgive them their trespasses as you forgive those who trespass against you. Right? Well, yeah, forgive us our trespasses. Right? Lord's Prayer: Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Right? Okay, it's all there. Same thing in the Hail Mary. It's all there, right? In these short little things that you think are prayers. And they are prayers, but they're also to remind you of your status and what to do and how to be. So anyway, if you want to be with these guys for the next 7 years and sue them and try to get money out of them, and fuck it, let it go. Right? Because in order to work all this stuff through court, and I've seen it even with the most simple things, continuance after continue, and just, do you want to do all that, or would you just want to say, fuck it, right? I'm a man, give me back my estate, all the shit that you did, forget it, right? Yeah, you committed fraud. And this is the other thing. You can't even allege fraud until such time as you change your status. Slave, right? You don't have any standing in court, right? You don't have any standing in international court. They don't recognize you. Okay, so you got to get to the point where, as Carl Lentz says, you're your own state. You're your own thing. You're a man or a woman. Right? And then you have to get them to recognize it. Okay, do your research. Do your research. Educate self, educate others. Once you educate self, you can start educating others. And the more of us that know a thing, the more of us that know a thing. Simple as that. And don't believe them when they try to tell you that you're the first one ever, because you're not. Here's a document that shows, going back to 1985, that for sure you're not, right? There's a book that shows. Okay, now we're getting better and better at honing it down, right? So that we don't have to baffle them with huge amounts of words. It's just a very few short words once you start to understand the concept. Keep it simple, stupid, right? KISS, right? And I'm all about, look at me, I'm all about learning all this stuff and writing down all, right? Page after page of notes and all this stuff. Okay, when I actually turn the stuff into the government, when it finally comes to pass, it's going to be less than this. It's going to be handwritten, and it's going to be less than this, right? A few declarative statements in common law. That's it. We'll go from there. Recognize me. Hi, you need to recognize me. I'm alive, right? You don't need to administer my estate anymore. Thanks. Thanks for doing all that stuff, though, but I've had enough. Thanks. Bye. Okay. 100 Monkey Out. That was Sunday School number 7. We had a couple of Saturday schools and so forth. I really do. And as a closer, I just want to say one more time, they're not all bad. The police officer that wrote me that ticket was a cool guy. I would bust a beer with him anytime. Oops, what did I just do with it? I don't know what I just did with the ticket. It's around here someplace. Oh, there it is. But this was a bogus ticket, right? He summoned me to court on Thanksgiving Day. And I did. I called out court. I'm like, you guys aren't there on Thanksgiving. She goes, of course not. Right? So he made it look like he was doing his job. Right? Once you understand what the IRS is and who they are your fucking best friends. Right? Because from them, all other things spring. So you need to let the first people you need to know are alive, that you're alive, is the IRS. Right? Please change my account, because then all the other accounts get changed from decedent to non-decedent. That's the first thing you need to do. In my opinion. Well, one of the first things you need to do is another thing, right? Because everybody's like, oh, what order do you do stuff? I don't know, whatever. There's no one way to do this from what I can tell. But another thing you need to do absolutely is rescind your voter registration, which is really hard to do when Trump and Biden and everybody and the TV and Facebook and social media is all telling you, register, 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 register to vote, register. What do the word register mean? maybe you don't want to register to vote. Just saying, maybe you don't need representation. Maybe you can represent yourself, and you don't represent yourself. You just present yourself as a agent or representative of the Enlegius, right? Again, they don't speak their Latin. That's the language of the dead, and they understand it way better than you do. I've taken like 2 years of Latin, right? I can ego sum est. I can say a few things, right? But you don't want to speak their language. Okay. Yes, Ephesians 6:12. I like it. Dark to light, brothers. Everything's coming. It's all coming, right? We have moved from Pisces to Aquarius. Now, how fast do we want to get from Pisces to Aquarius? Because it's Hermetic principle number 1. It's mentalism. So it can take 10 years. It can take 700 years. It's up to us. But we move from the age of the Pisceans to the age of Aquarius. And in the age of Aquarius, those things that are hidden are going to come to light. And a lot of things that are hidden are heinous and ugly, but they're going to come to light. And then we continue on. Again, we are at war. If you think that you're going to go to war and have no casualties, I feel bad for you, because there's always casualty in war. So what you want to do is make sure that you're not a casualty, that your children are not a casualty, that your husband and wife is not a casualty of this war, because there's going to be casualties. Promise. So, and when we get to the other side, it's going to be awesome. But we got a long way to go before we get to the quote unquote other side, into the promised land. Where energy is free and where all this other stuff happens and where people are self-actualized and so on and so forth. It's coming, but it's not coming tomorrow, and it's not coming without you. And it's never coming if you're ignorant. Okay, 100th Monkey out. Hope you enjoyed this one. I enjoyed this one. I'm going to enjoy watching this. And see, what I do, and I know a lot of other people have told me the same, is they see that I'm going on and on and on, and they just come back and hit 2 times speed. Watch it on 2 times speed. Right? So thanks for all the things. I'll put a Patreon down there. People always say you never put your Patreon up. Yeah, okay. I'll put my Patreon down there if you want to give me $1. Yay. If you don't, there's other people that probably deserve it more than me. Carl Lentz, for one. I'll put links, and they may not be here today, but they will get on this eventually. Right? All right. 100th Monkey out. E pluribus unum, crime stoppers. Be of good cheer. Enjoy this next week and what happens. Keep your eyes open. All right. No fear.